Chapter 412. Don't worry, they can all be controlled. The mysterious woman suddenly appeared. This time, she did not continue to hide in Jiang Zhenyu's shadow. Instead, she appeared directly. Jiang Zhenyu was shocked. She wanted to say something, but the mysterious woman gestured for her not to speak. Then, after the mysterious woman chanted a sutra, something magical happened. These ruins living beings actually prostrated themselves in front of the mysterious woman. It was as if they were facing a god. What's going on? Jiang Zhenyu was shocked. I've said that I still have some confidence in this place. Let's go, we'll go directly to the core area. The mysterious woman said indifferently. What about the other creations? Jiang Zhenyu hurriedly asked, don't you want the other creations? Not anymore. The mysterious woman said decisively. To be honest, there are a lot of resources here, so much that you can establish a huge family clan. However, I can tell you that these minor things are useless. Why are they useless? Jiang Zhenyu was anxious to know the answer. You want to know the answer? Let me tell you, if you obtain the core creations and the saint's legacy, everything here will be yours and mine. The mysterious woman's eyes were bright. Why me? You can kill me to silence me. Jiang Zhenyu asked frankly. In fact, she should not have said such words. However, Jiang Zhenyu still said it. The reason was very simple. Instead of being killed in the end, she might as well ask directly if there were any benefits for Jiang Zhenyu. Although he had already reached an agreement with the mysterious woman, under certain circumstances, any agreement would be useless. For example, now that she could control the ruins' living beings, how was she going to play this game? Because regarding the saint's ruins, there are two creations, one yin and one yang. One is real and the other is fake. I only want the real saint's creations, but you can obtain the fake one. The mysterious woman said generously. Since things had come to this point, she was no longer afraid of being honest with her. Fake. Jiang Zhenyu was stunned. After all this fuss, she could only obtain a fake creation? It couldn't be. This was not the way to play, all right? The fake creation is actually the subordinate of the real creation. The mysterious woman's words made Jiang Zhenyu angry. Was this a provocation? It must be a provocation. However, the highest achievement is still to become a saint. Although it's only a beginner saint, I think it's enough for you. The mysterious woman changed the topic. What do you mean? Jiang Zhenyu frowned. This person only spoke halfway. What exactly did he want? What I mean is very simple. A sage's creation is already enough for you. The mysterious woman smiled and said, it's not easy to become a saint. This is true no matter where you go, right? Also, I'll be frank with you. A true saint's fortune can only be obtained by someone with the same bloodline. Are you from our clan? There's no need for a fake creation. It's much simpler because I can't possibly have any racial restrictions, right? Jiang Zhenyu fell silent. Because what the other party said was the truth. It was not easy to become a saint. It was extremely difficult to become a saint. Not to mention, there were still many trials and tribulations before becoming a saint. Numerous thresholds blocked the path of one prodigy after another. Even the most beginner saint could look down on everyone. Moreover, if what the other party said was true, that one needed someone with the same bloodline to obtain a true saint's creation, then other than the mysterious woman, no one else had a chance at all. What was the point of playing then? Jiang Zhenyu was tempted. The mysterious woman smiled and did not say anything. She walked in front. Jiang Zhenyu hesitated for a moment before quickly following. This meant that she accepted the proposal. What the F***ck is this place? Kugu scratched his head and walked into the darkness. Bai Wuxia did not say anything. Beside him was Lai Yan. However, Lai Yan was also silent. Because, whether it was good luck or bad luck, they were directly teleported into the depths of the saint's ruin. There were several demon kings here. They were very powerful. Lai Yan was not afraid of demon kings. She was afraid that there would be too many of them. If that happened, she and Bai Wuxia would be defeated here. After all, this was the saint's ruin. It was not strange that there would be some dangers that could kill people like her. Big brother, follow me. Lu Shenzhan signaled Lu Tianbing to follow. Because this place was simply too bizarre and bizarre. It was constantly changing. If Lu Tianbing did not follow him closely, he might get lost. That was very dangerous. Lu Tianbing did not dare to say anything. He completely believed in his sister. Even if there was a cliff in front of him, as long as Lu Shenzhan asked him to take a step, he would do it, even if it meant death. He Ping walked in the darkness. She clenched her fists and was vigilant of her surroundings. As long as something came out, she would kill it with a punch. That was how domineering she was. Unreasonable. Wang Zhong used his natal bell to protect himself. The bell glowed slightly, illuminating the path ahead. It did not attract any living beings here. It was a very safe method. Aya, little sister Feng, we were teleported together again. Mo Ling smiled and said to Feng Yaoguang, "You've been getting close to Feng Yu because you want to change your fate, right?" Feng Yaoguang said suddenly. Mo Ling's body trembled slightly at the mention of changing fate, because she really did have such thoughts. Changing fate requires a person with an extraordinary fate. I didn't understand it previously, but now I remember many things, Feng Yaoguang said calmly. So what? Did I do it? Mo Ling replied. Indirectly, she admitted that she had such thoughts. If you really want to do it, I will kill you. Feng Yaoguang warned Mo Ling, little sister Feng, did you sleep too much? Even if you are much stronger now, do you think you can kill me? Mo Ling smiled. You can give it a try. Feng Yaoguang said calmly. Mo Ling stared at Feng Yaoguang for a long time, before finally giving a faint smile and patting her shoulder. Sister, you can't have really fallen for Feng Yu, right? Although he's a pretty good man, but in the face of fate, you and I are ultimately powerless. Feng Yu is different. He might be able to go against the heavens. Feng Yaoguang replied slowly. You really think highly of him? Mo Ling was a little surprised. If it was the previous Feng Yaoguang, it would be fine. However, the current Feng Yaoguang was different. She also thought highly of Feng Yu? Was this for real? Feng Yaoguang did not say anything. There was no need for her to answer this question. Scorpion King Blood Pill. It's not good to swallow it directly. Why don't I find another way? Feng Yu muttered to himself as he played with the Scorpion King Blood Pill. Chapter 413. How do I find another way? Long Tianxian was very interested in Feng Yu's explanation. Yes, if he didn't swallow the pill directly, how else could he find another way? You don't understand. Feng Yu revealed an unfathomable look, which made Long Tianxian roll his eyes. Swallowing this pill will allow me to temporarily possess some of the Scorpion King's abilities. In other words, it contains the aura of a living being in the ruins. If I swallow it directly just to cover it up, it would be too wasteful. If I were to refine it bit by bit, it would consume 1% of its medicinal power and then create the illusion that I'm a living being in the ruins. It would be worth it. Feng Yu explained. Will it work? Long Tianxian asked doubtfully. Whether it will work or not, I'll only know after I try. Feng Yu said generously. After saying that, he immediately tried to refine the Scorpion King Blood Pill. Long Tianxian swallowed a mouthful of saliva, a little scared. Wasn't that right? The Scorpion King Blood Pill was not an ordinary thing. If something went wrong and it was wasted, it would be a pity. Now that Feng Yu had started refining it without saying anything, he was really worried that something would go wrong. However, surprisingly, Feng Yu's refining was very smooth, because he used the refine word technique. The refine word technique could refine everything and everything. As the medicinal power spread, Feng Yu felt that he had an additional aura similar to the Scorpion King's. Success. Fang Yu was pleasantly surprised. That works. Fang Yu, you're really a freaking genius. Long Tianxian was dumbfounded. Alright, don't be in a hurry to praise me. Let's go. Fang Yu did not say much to Long Tianxian, but hurried on his way. He could feel that something was awakening here. If he did not hurry up and get down to business, there might be some uncontrollable changes. That would be troublesome. At the same time, in the depths of the Saint ruins. This was a special space in the ruins. The reason why it was special was that this was the center of the entire ruins. No matter how the Saint ruins changed, this place would not change. After all, the entire ruins served this place. A figure sitting high up in the sky opened his mouth and uttered an ancient sound. It had not spoken for too long. Its remaining life force was very, very little. It might not even be able to last for a day. However, it was still alive even though it was believed to have fallen many years ago. Through the ruins that it had created in its old age, it had wandered from place to place just to reach a place of good fortune. The coordinates of this land of fortune were displayed as the Myriad Spirit Continent. The Myriad Spirit Continent was a land full of spirits. This was the result of its deduction. At that time, its lifespan was about to run out. In the few days it had left, it searched for a way to live from the dead. Possession. As long as it possessed a person with a great destiny, it would have a chance of surviving. However, what kind of person would be considered a person with great destiny? There were many explanations. Whether it was true or false, no one knew. One of the more reasonable ones was the person of great destiny. That was to say, he was in existence that would normally reach the martial emperor realm. This was a person of great destiny. There weren't many people like that, but there were still quite a few of them. Because to have such a destiny, one had to grow up safely to realize it. Otherwise, it wouldn't count if it was killed by other person of great destiny halfway. After all, destiny would affect destiny. It was very powerful. When it was at its strongest in the past, it could even fight a martial emperor without being at a disadvantage. It had a chance to defeat a martial emperor. Although it was only a chance, it was still very impressive. However, it was limited to this. This was its limit. This was its destiny. In the end, it couldn't defeat a person with great destiny. However, if it possessed a person with great destiny, it had a very high chance of becoming a martial emperor, crossing the threshold of the past, and even having a chance to reach the god realm in the future. Therefore, it came to the Myriad Spirit Continent. No one knew about its plan. Even its children and grandchildren had never been able to fulfill its ambitions. As for how the world saw it and thought, it had nothing to do with it. This was not a category that it needed to consider. I can already feel it. It's coming, the person of great destiny. Although there seems to be someone closely related to my descendants, it has little to do with me. The true and false inheritance here is only for the person of great destiny. This figure gradually regained its vitality. This was its last vitality. Once it burned out, it would be completely dead. Therefore, it could only go all out. It bet that its luck wasn't bad. It bet that it could possess the person of great destiny. In fact, it was very clear that this was something that was in the bag. In the so-called true and false inheritance, the fake was the real one, and the real one was the fake one. The fake inheritance looked like it could barely reach the saint realm, but it was the real inheritance. The so-called true inheritance was actually fake. It was a trap to possess the other party. As long as it tried to accept the inheritance, it would possess it. It was waiting for the other party to come to its door. Fang Yu emitted the aura of the Scorpion King as he moved forward quickly. There was no lack of ruins on the way, but surprisingly, none of them stopped Fang Yu, which made him click his tongue in wonder. Interesting. They really rely on aura to distinguish their own kind. Although there is no lack of creatures like the Scorpion King, they are still a minority. Too many years have passed here, and many powerful creatures have been obliterated and died. Fang Yu sighed. I didn't expect you to be so lucky. It really works. Long Tianxian also had a look of disbelief. What do you mean by a blind cat running into a dead mouse? This is my ability. It's my great wisdom, Fang Yu said valiantly. Okay. There's someone ahead. Long Tianxian reminded Fang Yu. Fang Yu looked over. Sure enough, there was someone. This was a warrior that he had never seen before. His aura was very powerful. Where exactly are we? Beijiang frowned. He had just entered and was teleported to this place. What was even stranger was that when they were outside they could still communicate with the people inside. But when they were inside they couldn't. What was going on? One of the reasons why Beijiang formed the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance was to use these people as his cannon fodder. Many of them were warriors who were angry and in awe of geniuses. It was rare for them to have a chance to take revenge, so of course, they would spare no effort to deal with geniuses. Therefore, there was an endless stream of people who joined the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. Beijiang selected a portion of them and established the original Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. In the end, it was completely useless. As soon as they appeared, they were taught a lesson by Fang Yu and the others. Then, Beijiang directly fired a portion of them and gave the rest a high promise. Only then did the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance become truly powerful. Chapter 4:14. This person has a murderous aura. He doesn't look like a good person, Fang Yu said with a straight face. His words made Long Tianxian roll her eyes. If the other party was not a good person, then what was Fang Yu? A bad person among bad people, the best among bad people? Let's go. Let's catch him and capture him, Fang Yu said on a whim. Because there were too many things to complain about, Long Tianxian didn't know how to complain. What? Is my idea strange? Fang Yu asked. Of course it's strange. Aren't you in a hurry? Don't you need time to capture someone? Long Tianxian asked. Well, of course I need to hurry, but I also need to capture someone. These two don't conflict, Fang Yu said with a straight face. Just as Long Tianxian was about to say something, Fang Yu had already moved. He was lurking nearby, waiting for the right time to make a move on this unlucky guy. Long Tianxian had no choice but to follow. I can't contact him at all. Another attempt, another failure. Beijiang was a little impatient. Wasn't that right? It couldn't be used at the critical moment. The Heaven-Cleaving Alliance he had organized was just for leeching. Indeed, the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance was not without achievement. Strictly speaking, the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance's achievements were very good, but in Beijiang's opinion, it was not enough. It was far from enough. At least compared to Fang Yu, who often caused a big commotion, it was not just a little bit worse. He longed to be stronger. Who is it? However, just as Fang Yu approached within 100 feet, Beijiang sensed it and immediately turned around with a murderous aura. Your reaction is quite fast. Fang Yu clicked his tongue in wonder. My ancestor has the bloodline of the divine beast White Tiger. He is very sensitive to murderous aura and killing intent. So, Fang Yu, are you targeting me now? Beijiang asked straightforwardly. If I said that I'm here to have tea with you, would you believe me? Fang Yu asked. What do you think? Beijiang sneered and asked. If it were me, I would definitely believe it, Fang Yu said seriously. Get lost. Beijiang was too lazy to argue with Fang Yu and directly attacked. Fang Yu chuckled and did not continue to be courteous with Beijiang. Let's fight. Crackle. The war was about to start. Although Beijiang's reputation was not as good as Fang Yu's, as the son of a hidden family and the mastermind behind the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, was it possible to say that he was weaker than Fang Yu? Impossible. In just 3 to 5 rounds, Fang Yu knew that this Beijiang was something. You have some strength. Who are you? Fang Yu clicked his tongue in wonder. His question caused Beijiang to be stunned. It turned out that Fang Yu didn't know who he was. Fang Yu, you bastard! Die! Kita roared. He felt that he had been insulted. Soaring Dragon Technique. Fang Yu immediately used the Soaring Dragon Technique. Soaring Dragon of the Four Seas, Soaring Dragon of the Nine Heavens. Xiao! Fang Yu's speed was so fast that it could not be seen by the naked eye, causing Biziang to calm down. He is indeed very strong. No wonder they were unable to succeed. Biziang muttered to himself. That's right. It was not that they did not have their eyes on Fang Yu. They wanted to kill Fang Yu. If they had the chance, they wanted to kill Fang Yu. However, not only did Fang Yu not die, he was still alive and kicking. This was very confusing. Now Biziang finally understood. So Fang Yu had such a movement technique. It was almost impossible to kill Fang Yu with a movement technique of the spiritual martial art level. Seems like I can only use my true strength. Biziang laughed coldly. Using my true strength? Fang Yu's eyebrows moved and he immediately revealed a smile. I am looking forward to your strength when you use your true strength. Fang Yu said with a smile. Good, good, good. You have completely angered me. Biziang laughed from extreme anger. Even though it wasn't his intention to challenge Fang Yu right from the start, there was nothing much to say since they had already met. Only battle. White Tiger Roar. Biziang roared as a white tiger image appeared behind him. You really have the blood of the white tiger? I thought he was just joking. Fang Yu clicked his tongue. Divine Beast White Tiger was not weaker than Dragon Race, Heavenly Phoenix and other top races. In terms of killing, it was even more terrifying. Who would have thought that this Biziang was not just joking? He actually had some ability. My ancestor was a martial emperor. What do you, Fang Yu, have? Do you really think you have the qualifications to be number one? Biziang sneered. If not for hiding and your sudden disappearance, do you really think you could be so carefree until now? So you are saying that I should thank you? Fang Yu replied. More or less. Biziang said. Scram. While Fang Yu was cursing, he took a deep breath and charged forward with his blade. Tiger Aura, Tiger Shield. Biziang was fearless. As the descendant of a hidden family, he did not think that he would lose to Fang Yu. In fact, once Tiger Aura and Tiger Shield were used, the battle situation was reversed. Tiger Fury was the offense, while Tiger Aura was the defense. With one attacking and one defending, so what if Fang Yu's speed was extremely fast? Wouldn't Fang Yu still have to break through his defense in order to fight? Setting sun, blazing sun. Fang Yu chopped down and Biziang was forced to move horizontally. Woo! Biziang felt pain and his expression changed. The power of this slash was too strong. If not for the fact that his Tiger Aura was thick enough, this slash would have broken through his defense. Your turtle shell is quite hard. Fang Yu clicked his tongue in wonder. Biziang smiled and was about to speak when Fang Yu said, however, this blade, I can still use it 10 times or 100 times. What about your turtle shell? Can it withstand 10 times or 100 times? 10 times or 100 times? Are you kidding me? Biziang was so angry that he laughed. Isn't that right? 10 times or 100 times, even if Fang Yu used up all his spirit energy, he would not be able to use it so many times. Because the more powerful the martial arts, the more spirit energy it would consume. The foundation of a martial artist's battle was spirit energy. Without spirit energy they would not be able to use martial arts. Although it was not to the extent of becoming immortal, but their ability would be greatly reduced. However, before Biziang could say that Fang Yu was bragging, Fang Yu's dragon teeth blade had already chopped down. Pung! 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 Under the ravaging of setting sun, Tiger's shield became somewhat thin and was on the verge of collapse. Biziang's face sank. His Tiger's shield had been consumed by so much in such a short period of time. If this continued, he would really be defeated by Fang Yu. No, his attacks are too fierce. Without Tiger Shield, I will be in danger, Biziang secretly thought. He had to admit that Fang Yu's strength was beyond his imagination. This kid is dangerous. I can't drag this out with him. Thinking about this, Biziang retreated as he fought. He was not prepared to continue fighting with Fang Yu in case something unexpected happened. Chapter 4:15. You want to leave? Fang Yu was very experienced. He could immediately tell that Beiji Ong wanted to leave. However, they had already fought to this point. Was he going to leave after showing off? There was no such thing. Stay here. Setting sun, blazing sun, triple strike. Fang Yu's saber slashed 3 times in slow motion with his left and right hands. Finally, on the third strike, the tiger shield was split open. Beiji Ong was bleeding on the spot. Beiji Ong screamed as he retreated a few steps. The power behind that strike was so great that it left a long wound on his body. Blood splattered everywhere. Beiji Ong wanted to live. Obviously, it was hard to hold someone accountable for killing someone in the Saint Ruins, just like the cultivators who had been tricked by them to their deaths before. Their deaths were related to Beiji Ong and Jiang Zhenyu's trick. However, their greed was the main culprit. They couldn't blame anyone else. Even if the Azure Dragon Institute asked for an answer, they would be able to give an explanation. Since that was the case, now that Fang Yu had killed him, his family wouldn't be able to hold Fang Yu accountable. In fact, no one would even know if it was Fang Yu who did it. Does he have a life-saving trump card like Zhuomu? Fang Yu asked hesitantly. Previously, when he fought with Zhuomu, he was tricked by Zhuomu and drew out a Martial King-level protection. If Fang Yu didn't have the page of the Book of Souls to suppress the power of the soul, Fang Yu would have been defeated or even crippled. Beiji Ong came from a martial emperor family or a hidden family. It was very likely that he had such a trump card. This kind of trump card is good. However, some of the rules are triggered. It is the state of near death. Do you know what near death is? It is when you are about to die that this kind of power is triggered. However, if you kill them with one strike, they will go from life to death. There will be no near-death process. Only then can you kill them. Are you going to kill him now? Long Tianxian asked lazily. It's not good to kill him. I remember that Zhuomu brought a lot of treasures. By the same logic, he can't have too few treasures. It's just that he won't hand them over obediently. Let's capture him first. Fang Yu said. You're really daring. In this kind of life and death battle, you still want to capture the enemy. Are you sure you're not looking for trouble? Long Tianxian rolled her eyes at Fang Yu. No. Fang Yu replied while intercepting Beiji Ong. Fang Yu, what else do you want? This time I admit defeat. From now on, I won't interfere with your business. Beiji Ong quickly said. Hee. Fang Yu replied with a chuckle. Wasn't that just hee? Fang Yu did not believe a single word that Kataziang said. This kind of method could be used to deceive others. As someone who had used this method before, Fang Yu was very clear that Beiji Ong must be thinking, don't give me a chance. Otherwise, I'll teach you a lesson. I'll make you regret being born in this world. How could Fang Yu let Beiji Ong go like this? Come here and die. Fang Yu chased after him. Do you really want to have a life and death battle? Beiji Ong was enraged. He had already admitted defeat. What else did Fang Yu want? Hee, if you really want to have a life and death battle with me, it won't be like this. I'll give you a free suggestion. You can use your most powerful escape treasure and quickly escape. Out of sight, out of mind. Otherwise, even if I capture you, you'll have to pay 10 times or even 100 times the price for your life. Fang Yu chuckled, making Beiji Ong shudder. He had a premonition that Fang Yu was not joking. If he really fell into Fang Yu's hands, his end would definitely not be good. He dared to say that if he said he would pay 10 times the price, then he would pay 10 times the price. There would not be a single cent discount. How about it? If you surrender and save me some energy, I can still give you some preferential treatment. Fang Yu said with a smile. Bei Ji-ong opened his mouth and suddenly turned into a stream of baleful aura and disappeared without any warning. This is baleful aura art? Long Tianxian was stunned. What is baleful aura art? Fang Yu asked while looking around for traces of Bei Ji-ong. He did not believe that Bei Ji-ong could escape from his hands. Baleful aura art, rather than a martial art, is a way to use baleful aura. Without a certain amount of talent, it is impossible to learn it. As the descendant of White Tiger, it is not strange for him to be able to learn baleful aura art. Long Tianxian said with a serious expression. So that's the case. Then what's the theory behind it? Fang Yu looked at Long Tianxian's clear and logical expression. She probably knew the theory behind it, so he asked. I am not clear about the theory behind it, but we should split his baleful aura and replace it from afar. Long Tianxian frowned and said, This is how all martial arts are used. It should be pretty close. Alright. I will continue to track him. Fang Yu nodded. Knowing the theory behind it, he had a rough idea. Bei Ji-ong quickly ran away. Damn it, this Fang Yu was much stronger than what the rumors said. A moment of carelessness, and he nearly suffered a huge loss. Suddenly, as he was running, Bei Ji-ong realized that something was wrong. In front of him, there is a large group of ruins creatures passing by. It is not that he has never seen ruins creatures before. When he first entered, there were already ruins creatures nearby. However, the less trouble, the better. He did not alarm the ruins creatures and chose to retreat. However, Bei Ji-ong was very clear that creatures from the ruins shouldn't move in groups like this. What was going on? Isn't this? Bei Ji-ong suddenly recognized that there are two figures standing in the center of the ruins creatures. He does not know one of them, and the other is Jiang Zhenyu. Why is she with the ruins creatures? Could it be that she is controlling the ruins creatures? Just as Bei Ji-ong finished thinking about it, he shook his head and denied it. No, that's not possible. If she has this kind of ability, she doesn't need us to work together and use some ancient method to enter. She doesn't know how to enter the ruins. Then it is the woman beside her? Who is she? I have never seen her before. Bei Ji-ong was confused. Suddenly, the mysterious woman turned her head and met Bei Ji-ang's gaze. At that moment, Bei Ji-ong felt a life and death crisis. If he cannot escape, he might die. It is Bei Ji-ong. What do you think we should do? The mysterious woman smiled and asked Jiang Zhenyu. Bei Ji-ong? He is here. Capture him. Jiang Zhenyu said. Chapter 4:16. Bei Ji-ang's hair stood on end. He did not expect that Jiang Zhenyu would send people to capture him. Although there is no good relationship between them, they are still comrades on the same front. And now, Jiang Zhenyu is treating him like this? Jiang Zhenyu! Bei Ji-ong roared as he turned around to escape. He was so *king unlucky. There is a wolf in front and a pursuer behind. He did not forget that Fang Yu is still following him. Bei Ji-ong. Found you. Fang Yu appeared without any warning. Originally, he would not be able to track Bei Ji-ong so quickly because Bei Ji-ong is not an idiot. How can he leave behind a lot of clues for him to chase after? However, Bei Ji-ong turned around and ran back. This way, he can save a lot of effort. Fang Yu, Jiang Zhenyu is colluding with the living beings in the ruins and is chasing after me. Bei Ji-ong quickly said. What? There is actually such a thing. Fang Yu's expression changed. Just as Bei Ji-ong is waiting for him to say that he wants to cooperate, Fang Yu smiled and said, That is great. Since she is sending herself to me, I will gladly accept it. What? Beiji Eng's eyes are about to pop out of their sockets. He is not joking, right? In front of such a crisis, he does not even consider cooperating and wants to continue fighting? Could it be that he does not know that when two tigers fight, one is bound to be injured? You will be captured as well. After saying that, Fang Yu took the initiative to attack Beiji Ong. Madman. Beiji Ong cursed. Actually, Beiji Ong himself is a famous madman. He would never have thought that he would be forced into such a state by another madman. Die for me. Fang Yu does not care about Beiji Eng's mood. He only wants to vent his anger and capture this fellow. Bang! 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 Beiji Ong has no choice but to clash with Fang Yu, but the result is that he is completely defeated. Beiji Ong is no match for Fang Yu. What? Beiji Ong vomited blood. Too terrifying, too sharp. Although Fang Yu's realm is higher than his by a bit, why does it feel like it is several small realms higher? Why? Is this the benefit of the extreme Yuan pill? Fang Yu's eyes were bright. The extreme Yuan pill could squeeze out all the remaining potential from the previous realm. Don't underestimate this little bit of residual potential. 1 or 2 small realms might not be much, but what about 9 small realms added together? He was no weaker than a martial king. Such a thing could not be described with the word terrifying. You lunatic, they're here. Beiji Ong wiped the blood from his mouth, and could not help but curse. Fang Yu calmly stared at the newcomer. 2 women came. One of them should be the Jiang Zhenyu that Beiji Ong mentioned. Lai Yen had mentioned Jiang Zhenyu before. Mayan and Kegu Air had also mentioned her in their messages. She was the descendant of a reclusive family. More importantly, her hidden family was the family of the Void Martial Emperor. This made Fang Yu very uneasy. Fang Yu had obtained the map of the Void Martial Emperor's cave. To put it simply, Fang Yu had already marked this place as his territory. If Jiang Zhenyu came, how could he carry out his plan? This won't do. I have to think of a way to deal with her. Fang Yu revealed an ominous glint in his eyes. The reason is very simple. This Saint Ruins had already attracted many heaven's proud sons and daughters to fight over it. Once the Void Martial Emperor's cave was exposed, it would not be Fang Yu's turn. Therefore, he could not let Jiang Zhenyu enter the Saint Ruins. As for the other one, Beiji Ong, who is she? She doesn't look like someone from your hidden family. Fang Yu casually asked, making Beiji Ong want to vomit blood. She is not one of us, but I feel that she is very dangerous because she can control the creatures in the ruins. Beiji Ong hoped that Fang Yu would turn his spearhead to deal with the 2 women. Then he would seize the opportunity to escape. Honestly speaking, Beiji Ong did not have much confidence in eating Fang Yu. However, it did not hinder him from having confidence in walking a few rounds with Fang Yu. In any case, he is the descendant of a hidden family. He still has a lot of treasures. As long as he goes all out, even if Fang Yu wanted to win, he would have to pay the price in blood. The problem is that if he did that, he would not have many trump cards left. He might even become Fang Yu's prisoner. In comparison, it was obviously better for him to run away. Fang Yu, you are very special, the mysterious woman suddenly said. Oh? You know that I am special? Fang Yu asked in shock. In his memory, he did not know this person. Furthermore, this person's reaction towards him is very different from others. If it was other people, their attitude towards Fang Yu would be simple and direct. What Fang Yu, get up here and accept your death. Arrogant and unruly, insufferably arrogant. Because of their powerful background, they have the confidence to look down on Fang Yu. However, this mysterious woman is different, very different. Not only does she have a powerful and dangerous feeling, she does not look down on Fang Yu at all. This is what surprised Fang Yu. An enemy who does not look down on me and is powerful enough to scare me. I don't even know her. It would be a lie to say that I am not dumbfounded. Your aura is very strange. You refined a martial king level creature? The mysterious woman's expression changed as she said, "What? That's impossible." Jiang Zhenyu turned pale. If that was the case, Fang Yu was a little too terrifying. Cough, cough, you are exaggerating. I did not do such a terrifying thing. Fang Yu coughed a few times and quickly corrected her. I just refined it into an elixir. Refined it into an elixir? That's it? This is a martial king level creature. Jiang Zhenyu still could not believe it. They could kill a martial king level creature, but they would have to use a powerful trump card. Otherwise, they would have no chance at all. At the same level, demonic beasts were much more powerful than martial artists. Now that Fang Yu said that he had refined a martial king level demonic beast into an elixir, wouldn't that be even more shocking and terrifying? No, this is a martial king creature. Its cultivation level has probably dropped, and it's not at its peak. Because this place has been sealed for far too long, many powerful creatures have become weak. The more powerful ones have all died out. The mysterious woman sighed softly. You seem to know a lot about the saint's relics. Fang Yu clicked his tongue in wonder. I know a little. Just bits and pieces, not much. The mysterious woman said casually. That's great. Fang Yu clapped his hands. I need a tour guide. Why don't you be my tour guide? Not really. The mysterious woman replied. That's a pity. If you cooperate with me, you can still be my partner. Since you don't, Fang Yu sighed. So what if I don't cooperate? The mysterious woman was fearless. She still had a small army of creatures in the relic. Why should she be afraid of Fang Yu? You are all geniuses from famous families. You are worth a lot. If you can't cooperate, I can only make you my captives. Fang Yu said with slight regret. Chapter 4:17. Captive. Fang Yu's words caused the two girls to be slightly startled. For a moment they are somewhat dumbfounded. Because whether it is Jiang Zhenyu or the mysterious woman, they have never thought of becoming a captive. What is their status? What is their status? Why would they need to become someone's captive? What a joke. What? To be my, Fang Yu's, prisoner is definitely an insult to you. I just need you to hand over some valuable things, such as all kinds of treasures. Fang Yu said with a straight face. Courting death. The mysterious woman waved her hand and the ruins creatures immediately charged over. Seems like there is no room for negotiation. Fang Yu's expression did not change. There is no room for negotiation. Then let's fight. Boom. 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 Fang Yu's killing intent is awe-inspiring. He punched each of these martial spirit-level ruins creatures one by one. 10,000 beasts Emperor Fist. Once this martial art is used, it is simply overwhelming, simple and violent. Beijiang wants to leave, but Fang Yu immediately warned him. Hey! Are you going to leave? I'm warning you, don't think about leaving. Otherwise, I will turn my spearhead and deal with you first. Fang Yu fiercely warned Beijiang wants to curse, but he does not dare to gamble. Fang Yu is not ordinary ferocious now. If Fang Yu disregards everything to deal with him, then he will be in trouble. Beijiang, you don't dare to leave? Why don't you join us to deal with Fang Yu? Jiang Zhenyu rolled her eyes and said, Bitch! Stop trying to sow discord here. Beijiang cursed. He and Jiang Zhenyu have cooperated for a period of time. How could he not know what this bitch is thinking? She wants to use him as a tool. If after he cooperates, Fang Yu is still the first to deal with him, then who will be responsible and who will pay the bill? Scram! Fang Yu directly sent the ruins creatures that surrounded him flying. Good fellow! Everyone was frightened by Fang Yu's ferocity. Not bad. The mysterious woman narrowed her eyes and looked over. There were quite a number of her relic creatures, about 20 to 30 of them. With so many martial spirits gathered together, normal martial spirits would have no choice but to retreat. Fang Yu, on the other hand, advanced instead of retreating. This made the mysterious woman extremely unhappy. If I let you continue killing, I'll lose all my subordinates. The mysterious woman finally stepped onto the stage. Then come and stop me. Fang Yu fiercely chopped down with his saber. Humph! The mysterious woman snorted coldly, and a pair of wings spread out from her back. It was a pair of fleshy wings. With a light flap, it avoided Fang Yu's saber. What is this? Fang Yu exclaimed. The other party looked like Batman, but there were some differences. The mysterious woman's level was even higher. This was a high-level life form, not just a simple higher level. Could this be a vampire? Long Tianxian said in bewilderment. Vampire? Fang Yu's pupils constricted. Yes, this is a very special kind of creature. They live on fresh blood. Many years ago, there were traces of them on the Myriad Spirit Continent, but they couldn't adapt to the various things on the Myriad Spirit Continent and eventually went extinct. I didn't expect there to be one. Just as he finished speaking, Long Tianxian reacted and said, No, that's not right. Maybe she's not a creature from the Myriad Spirit Continent. What do you mean? Fang Yu asked again. Have you forgotten how the Saint Ruins came about? Long Tianxian hurriedly said, She might have come here with the Saint Ruins. What? That's impossible. Fang Yu was shocked. This kind of thing was too inconceivable. It was unbelievable. At first, I thought it was impossible, but after seeing her reaction, race, and the ability she displayed, I think it's probably true. Long Tianxian said with certainty, If that's the case, this should be the land of fortune for vampires. Vampires, as the name implies, are from the Blood Clan. This is a saint from the Blood Clan. Originally, I didn't believe that a peak martial sage could fight against a martial emperor. But if it's the Blood Clan, there's a certain probability. Why? Fang Yu was puzzled. Vampires and the Blood Clan were very rare in the Myriad Spirit Continent. They were very obscure things that ordinary martial artists wouldn't know about. After all, this was a strange knowledge that they might not use in their lifetime. Because the Blood Clan fights at night or in dark places, they have a great natural advantage. It's definitely not something that ordinary martial artists can compare with. Long Tianxian said, At night, their battle strength is at least 10% stronger. So powerful. Fang Yu clicked his tongue in amazement. 10%. At first glance, this ratio didn't seem high. But if it was a battle between martial artists of the same level, 10% could be a chance to turn the situation around. It couldn't be ignored easily. I was wondering what you were. It turns out that you're a vampire. Fang Yu laughed heartily. Vampire? Hearing this, whether it was Biziang or Jiang Zhenyu, they were suddenly enlightened. Previously, they felt that the mysterious woman's origin was a little strange. But at that moment, they couldn't recall what she was or what she looked like. If she said that she was a vampire, they immediately understood. You can actually recognize my race. But it's not strange. In ancient times, my ancestor left his orthodoxy in the Myriad Spirit Continent. It's not strange that you can recognize me. The mysterious woman said without changing her expression. Vampire is very rare, right? Fang Yu asked again. What do you mean? Are you treating me like an object? The mysterious woman was a little unhappy. I've said it before. You can either be my guide or my partner. I won't do anything to you. Fang Yu, treat my partners very well. However, if you don't want to work with me, then you're my enemy. Fang Yu, don't show mercy to my enemies. Fang Yu said unhurriedly. You have the ability? The mysterious woman didn't think that Fang Yu could really deal with her. You'll know when you try. Fang Yu didn't say anything and attacked. His target was this vampire. He had a premonition that if he could deal with this vampire, this trip to the ruins would be much easier. You still can't. The mysterious woman was fearless. She chose to fight with Fang Yu. Jiang Zhenyu, let's go. If you and I join hands, it won't be a problem to escape. Biziang quickly contacted Jiang Zhenyu. He didn't have the confidence to escape from Fang Yu or the mysterious woman alone. But with Jiang Zhenyu, it would be different. If they joined hands and took out some treasures, escaping would be a certainty. Little did he know, Jiang Zhenyu chuckled and said, "Why should I escape?" Chapter 4:18. Beijiang is stunned. He did not expect Jiang Zhenyu to say this. The two of them are monsters. How can I have a good time with them? Beijiang is extremely anxious. Isn't that right? No matter if it is Fang Yu or this vampire, they are not ordinary people. If he is careless, he might be consigned to eternal damnation. Originally, Beijiang is an extremely conceited person. But after meeting monsters like Fang Yu and that mysterious woman, he is unable to feel happy. He even suspects what he has been doing all these years as the son of a hidden family. I am not sure about Fang Yu, but she is my partner. She has already promised me an opportunity. Since that is the case, why should I run? Why should I leave? Jiang Zhenyu calmly replies. Jiang Zhenyu's words leave Beijiang speechless. That's right, Jiang Zhenyu is currently cooperating with this vampire. As long as she defeats Fang Yu, victory will be in her hands. Under this kind of situation, why should she take the risk with Beijiang? But you, Beijiang, you want to run away? Jiang Zhenyu smiles as she asks. Beijiang's face sinks. This woman is probably going to work with me to deal with her. Don't even think about it. Beijiang takes the initiative to attack. Capture him. Jiang Zhenyu does not care what Beijiang is thinking. She directly orders the remnant's life form to capture him. Jiang Zhenyu, I will remember you. Also, have you been cooperating with this woman for a long time? Beijiang explodes in anger. He feels that he has been played by Jiang Zhenyu like a fool. This is unforgivable. Yes. Jiang Zhenyu generously replies. Since she has already been exposed, then so be it. She only needs to wait for that mysterious woman to defeat Fang Yu, and everything will be settled. Although the experts here are far more than just Fang Yu and there are other seated contestants, but she has a trump card in her hand. The vampire definitely has a huge relationship with this place. Then her martial saint's opportunity is already set in stone. Although I am only a martial saint, I, Jiang Zhenyu, will definitely be able to restore the prestige of my ancestor. Because, thinking to this point, Jiang Zhenyu's eyes flickers. She still had an unknown trump card. However, the prerequisite was that she had to find a certain cave residence of her ancestor. There was something crucial inside, something extremely important. Myriad Beasts Emperor Fist. Fang Yu punched Vampire again, but Vampire was too fast. Fang Yu couldn't keep up with him. Even though I have enhanced the prowess of my martial arts, I am still unable to catch up to him, Fang Yu frowned. This guy was too difficult to deal with. She doesn't really surpass you in terms of speed, but she has some kind of ability that allows her to move in an extremely short amount of time. So, it looks like she's faster than you and can easily crush you. Long Tianxian reminded Fang Yu. This vampire was definitely not that powerful. Was she really so heaven-defying that she wanted to cooperate with Jiang Zhenyu? He could easily wipe them out, although it could be explained as hibernation. However, Long Tianxian didn't believe such nonsense. It could only be that the other party was greatly restricted here and could not easily use his full strength. Otherwise, with her current performance, it wouldn't be a problem to deal with Beijiang and Jiang Zhenyu. This isn't easy to deal with. Fang Yu frowned. He had never seen such an ability in Wanling continent. This was his first time encountering such an ability. Indeed, it wasn't easy to deal with. Swish. Swish. The next moment, the mysterious woman raised her finger and pierced through Fang Yu's shoulder. Blood was gushing out. Ugh! Fong Yu felt the pain and his expression turned ugly. Damn it, if I'm not careful, I'll be at a disadvantage. This vampire is really hard to deal with. You're bleeding. The mysterious woman chuckled. Fong Yu was confused about what the other party meant. However, he soon understood what the other party was talking about. The wound that was originally bleeding suddenly had blood flowing out. My blood is flowing out very quickly. Fong Yu hurriedly stopped the bleeding. At the same time, he looked at the vampire with fear in his eyes. Blood control? She even has such a talent? Long Tianxian's expression changed. Blood control? This was the first time Fong Yu had heard of such a talent. Yes, some powerful creatures have the ability to control blood. For example, they can make the bleeding speed up and so on. Think about it, when two parties are fighting and one of them is bleeding faster after being injured, it will undoubtedly have a huge impact on the battle. Long Tianxian's expression was equally ugly. What's even more terrifying is that the moment you're injured, they can suddenly use blood control to increase your bleeding speed. Even if you're a martial artist, you're still a living person. If you keep bleeding, you won't be able to withstand it. Then I'll just finish her off without getting injured. Fong Yu charged forward. This time, his attack was even more violent, causing the mysterious woman's expression to turn ugly. This was because Fong Yu's current fighting style was as if he didn't care about his life. Even someone as powerful as her was afraid of being injured and killed by Fong Yu. Of course, according to what Fong Yu said just now, he wouldn't really cripple her because Fong Yu still needed a tour guide. However, Fong Yu wasn't a kind person. She was afraid that she wouldn't have a good ending. Let's finish this quickly. Originally, Vampire wanted to hold back. However, Fong Yu's actual fighting strength was much stronger than the rumors. She dared to say that Fong Yu could take care of Zhuomu in 3 moves. It seemed that Fong Yu still held back during the battle. He was truly crafty. If Fong Yu knew what Vampire was thinking, he would definitely be speechless. This was because he didn't hold back at that time. Other than not using all of his trump cards, he was seriously fighting. Although Zhuomu was a little weak, he was still personally trained by the Three-Eyed Martial Emperor's clan. As the follower of the Three-Eyed Martial Emperor's son, it wasn't strange that he had such qualifications. However, the terrifying effect of the extreme Yuan pill was something that Fong Yu never expected. His battle prowess had almost doubled. In addition to the suit he obtained later, the current Fong Yu could kill Zhuomu in 1 move if he was caught off guard. It's a pity that Zhuomu isn't here. Thinking of this, Fong Yu couldn't help but think. Otherwise, he could try to kill Zhuomu with 1 punch. Although Fong Yu wanted to capture geniuses, it was better to kill some people who were destined to be enemies. Blood control. The vampire once again activated his innate ability to control blood. Fong Yu only felt the blood and qi in his body rolling and going out of control. What a powerful talent! Fong Yu said in surprise. The vampire smiled faintly, but before she could say anything, Fong Yu said something shocking again. I wonder if I can have this ability after refining you alive into a pill? Fong Yu's words made Vampire's hair stand on end. This man really dared to dream. In the next moment, Fong Yu swallowed a pill. This was the Scorpion King blood pill. Chapter 419. Gulp. As soon as the pill entered his stomach, it immediately melted and turned into rolling medicinal power, filling Fong Yu's limbs and bones. What? The vampires were the first to notice the abnormality. Then she reacted. It was probably something that Fong Yu obtained from refining the Martial King level remnant. He actually refined it into a pill? Who exactly is he? While the vampire was surprised, she quickly retreated. Before knowing the extent of Fong Yu's strength, it was better to keep a distance. However, Fong Yu had more or less figured out what she was capable of. How could he let her leave? Stay here. Fang Yu attacked. He dipped his hand in his own blood and dyed it with poison, turning it into a dark color. He directly shot it out like a bullet towards the vampire. What? The vampire did not expect Fang Yu to use the poison contained in the Scorpion King blood pill to deal with her. Swish! 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 The speed of the poisonous blood was very fast, but the vampire was also not bad. She was not lucky to be able to dodge Fang Yu's attack time and time again. Now, it was not a problem to use the poisonous blood to attack her. So that's how it is, Fang Yu suddenly understood. Through the Scorpion King's sensing ability, he roughly understood what the other party's method was. It turned out that there was a domain near the vampire that was difficult to detect. As long as she was within this domain, she would be free and unfettered and could easily change her position. Fang Yu's speed was indeed very fast, but her speed was equally terrifying and shocking. It was still possible for him to change his position one step ahead of time. Then I will attack together with this domain. Let's see where you can escape to. Fang Yu attacked without saying a word. 10,000 Beasts Emperor Fist. The power of Fang Yu's punch was even stronger. He attacked with all his strength just to accurately capture the vampire. Ugh, as expected, as long as Fang Yu attacked with a wide range, even if the vampire could avoid it, it would be impossible for her to completely dodge it. Now, she had been hit by Fang Yu. Although the wound wasn't very big, it still caused her domain to become unstable. It would be almost impossible for her to perfectly evade it next time. Get over here. Fang Yu suddenly attacked. No. The vampire turned pale. She wanted to escape. Fang Yu was too terrifying. She didn't want to fight him anymore. It was better to leave first. Long Tianxian. Fang Yu had been waiting for this moment. His opponent was too strange. Even if he didn't know Fang Yu's moves by heart, he still had a terrifying grasp of them. If she really wanted to leave, Fang Yu wouldn't be able to stop her. However, Fang Yu had never used Long Tianxian as his trump card. This time, he could catch his opponent off guard. TSK, lightning surged and interfered with the vampire's wings, causing it to be paralyzed for a moment. No, the vampire felt despair. She had studied Fang Yu with Jiang Zhenyu before. She couldn't reveal any flaws when fighting against Fang Yu. Once she did, then sorry, she had already lost. Sure enough, Fang Yu stepped forward and grabbed the vampire as if he was holding a chicken. Let go of me. The vampire was furious. She was a noble vampire. When had she ever been humiliated like this? You didn't believe me when I asked you to cooperate with me. Now look at you. You've lost your life too. Fang Yu said with a smile. Shut up. The vampire said angrily. Did Fang Yu take her for a fool? What guide? She didn't believe that Fang Yu was sincere in cooperating with her. I have some new tricks recently. I advise you not to play with fire and cooperate with me obediently. Fang Yu's expression didn't change. He wasn't afraid of her threat. Dream on. The vampire still didn't want to submit. Let her sleep for a while. Fang Yu said to Long Tianxian. Can't you do it yourself? Will you die if you do it yourself? Long Tianxian was quite dissatisfied with Fang Yu's extreme exploitation of her. Capable people do more work. It's only because you're powerful that I let you do it. If it was someone else, I wouldn't want them to do it. Fang Yu said seriously. You're just bragging. Long Tianxian was convinced by Fang Yu's ability to lie through his teeth. Fang Yu laughed. He didn't say yes or no. However, Long Tianxian still obediently made her move. She was ready to let the vampire sleep. What are you trying to do? The vampire was very afraid. Because she was more afraid of the power of lightning. It just so happened that Long Tianxian was a lightning dragon. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been restricted to this extent by that large-scale attack. She lost? Jiang Zhenyu was stunned that Fang Yu defeated the vampire. This vampire was mysterious and was proficient in many secret techniques. Now, she was caught by Fang Yu? No way. What's so strange about her losing? Fang Yu calmly threw the unconscious vampire in front of Jiang Zhenyu, then sat on her with a swagger. Jiang Zhenyu was speechless for a moment. At the very least, this vampire was a woman. What did Fang Yu take her for? A cushion? Okay, back to the topic. Look at me. Look at me. Fang Yu said to Jiang Zhenyu. What? Beiji Ong escaped. Aren't you going to catch him? Jiang Zhenyu was somewhat nervous. After all, Fang Yu had just defeated the vampire with lightning speed. No one knew where Fang Yu's limit was. Exchanging blows with such an enemy was undoubtedly very frightening. Let's talk about you first. Are you going to surrender or what? Fang Yu went straight to the point. Jiang Zhenyu. Just then, Beijiang came back. Just now, he was forced to use his most valuable item to escape from the ruins. Otherwise, he might not be able to come back. So, he could not just leave. He had to come back and take revenge on Jiang Zhenyu. But when he came back, he saw Fang Yu sitting on the vampire. Beijiang was stunned. How did he get rid of the vampire so quickly? Oh, it's Xiaobei. Beijiang. Come, sit down. Fang Yu asked Beijiang, are you going to surrender or what? Me? Surrender? Beijiang was so angry that he laughed. But when he saw the unconscious vampire, his smile disappeared. Okay. Don't be angry. I was too rough just now. I think we can talk about this place now. What do you think? Fang Yu said with a kind expression. Fine. I surrender. Beijiang sat down. What else could he do? The vampire was killed by Fang Yu. What else could he do? The vampires here were not easy to deal with. Fang Yu had failed several times. Beijiang did not know how he defeated them, but he was too lazy to try. Chapter 420. Compared to being beaten up and being honest would save time and energy. Beijiang did not need to think too much to choose the latter. Haha, you have good taste. Fang Yu laughed and patted Beijiang's shoulder. Seeing that you have repented, I will give you a way out. Beijiang rolled his eyes. Anyway, he could not defeat Fang Yu. Whatever Fang Yu said was the truth. What about you? Fang Yu asked Jiang Zhenyu again. Do you want to cooperate or become Beijiang's cushion? These words made Jiang Zhenyu's face as ugly as it could be. If she had to become Beijiang's cushion, she would rather die. I will cooperate, Jiang Zhenyu said immediately. She did not want to become Beijiang's cushion. Good. Fang Yu was overjoyed. This was the right way. Everyone was so easy to talk to. Relics and whatnot, wouldn't it be easy to get them? Tell me about her situation first. Fang Yu went straight to the point, not wanting to waste time with them. She calls herself Xueming. She told me recently. Previously, she did not want to reveal her real name. Jiang Zhenyu did not have any psychological pressure and sold out this so-called partner of hers. Actually, she and Xueming were not really cooperating. At the very least, the two of them were not sincere about cooperating with each other. Xueming had the intention of using Jiang Zhenyu. Jiang Zhenyu also wanted to rely on the clues that Xueming had obtained to obtain good fortune. It could only be said that they were using each other. It was hard to say who was better or worse. Now that Xueming had fallen into Fang Yu's hands, the outcome could be imagined. Therefore, she might as well sell Xueming while she could still sell her. Otherwise, Xueming would confess everything by herself and she would have nothing to do with it. Xueming, blood clan, Fang Yu said to himself. There should not be any blood clan in Wanling continent, at least in the past 1,000 years. There have not been any rumors about blood clans circulating in the world. Yes. Jiang Zhenyu replied. At first, I wasn't clear about her movements. After all, the first move she revealed was shadow evasion. Shadow meld? Something like that even exists? Fang Yu was astonished. Shadow meld was a very rare skill, and it was very difficult to cultivate. The root of all this was the bloodline. It could be said that if you were born with it, you had it. If you didn't have it, you didn't have it. Now, he was saying that the other party could even use shadow evasion. This kind of foundation was truly shocking. She has some status in the blood race. She has also been searching for this ruin for some time. Jiang Zhenyu told him everything that she knew without hiding anything. She wasn't really afraid of Fang Yu, but she knew that the outcome was already decided. Fang Yu wasn't alone. Fang Yu also had several companions. If he and his companions worked together, then Jiang Zhenyu and Bai Zhiang wouldn't be able to defeat them. He might as well surrender quickly and thoroughly. This wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was that Jiang Zhenyu faintly felt that there was a big problem with this matter. It wasn't that Xue Ming lied to her. In fact, what Xue Ming said was most likely true. After all, other than Jiang Zhenyu, Xue Ming didn't have anyone else to cooperate with. In comparison, cooperating with Jiang Zhenyu would save Xue Ming a lot of trouble. The facts proved that Xue Ming's idea was right. Cooperating with Jiang Zhenyu was very worrisome. At the very least, it was so before meeting Fang Yu. This woman has a big background. Fang Yu looked at Xue Ming, who he was sitting on, and muttered to himself. Jiang Zhenyu smiled and didn't say anything. Fang Yu sat on Xue Ming with a serious face. It was really out of place. Then, before you cooperated with me, you cooperated with her? Bai Zhiang was filled with killing intent. If that was the case, wasn't she treating him as a fool? No. I definitely didn't mean that. Jiang Zhenyu quickly explained. If you didn't mean that, then what do you mean? Bai Zhiang asked. He couldn't tolerate being treated like a fool by Jiang Zhenyu. I was originally going to cooperate with you. I've already discussed this with you before I entered the Azure Dragon Mirror. Jiang Zhenyu defended herself. Yes. Bai Zhiang nodded. They came with Mei En and the others. When they came, they were in a hurry and didn't make any preparations. Seeking cooperation was the only way. Unless they thought they could fight thousands of people alone. Otherwise, they couldn't avoid cooperating with others. Bai Zhiang was the descendant of a reclusive family, and so was Jiang Zhenyu. They had one thing in common. They were eager to prove themselves. Therefore, it was logical for them to cooperate. Bai Zhiang was aware of this. Because he was good, and so was Jiang Zhenyu. They were just here to give it a try. One shouldn't look at how they had paid a huge price just to give it a try. It was ridiculous for them to have a chance. In fact, for these declining martial emperor families, they had to seize the opportunity to become a martial emperor. This was especially true for Jiang Zhenyu's family. The Void Martial Emperor had risen too quickly and disappeared too quickly. They didn't even have time to arrange many things before the Void Martial Emperor disappeared. Moreover, the number of martial emperors in their family was too few. They didn't even have the number of martial emperors. Because of this, after confirming that the Void Martial Emperor had disappeared, the entire family didn't say anything and went into seclusion. Jiang Zhenyu knew the situation of her family. After learning about the Saint Ruins, she used her family's resources to come over. This kind of opportunity was very rare. Even if the Azure Dragon Institute was willing to let people cut the queue, they couldn't let over 100 people enter at once. They still had a bottom line. She and Bai Zhiang belonged to the type of cultivators who didn't make much preparations before coming over. It was natural for them to join forces. If Jiang Zhenyu had known about Xue Ming's matter beforehand, she would have made arrangements and wouldn't have cooperated with Bai Zhiang empty-handed. I'll have to start from when I entered the Azure Dragon Mirror. On the first night, I met Blood Tea. I was one of the few martial artists who accidentally stayed outside the city and didn't manage to enter the city. Because the teleportation was random and everything depended on luck, I had no choice but to spend the night in a cave. Jiang Zhenyu smiled bitterly and recounted the events of that day. Fang Yu was expressionless. There was no problem with Jiang Zhenyu's choice. This was the textbook answer. If it was Fang Yu, he would also find a relatively high cave in the wilderness where there weren't many demonic beasts passing by and make do for the night. It was just that his luck was good and he was teleported to a place where he could barely reach Flame City, avoiding this awkward situation. Otherwise, the result wouldn't be much better than Jiang Zhenyu's. Chapter 421. In the cave, I found Xueming. At that time, she was not in a good state, like a ghost. I was very scared. After all, it was a creature I had never seen before. Jiang Zhenyu smiled bitterly and said, "When I wanted to leave, the beast tide came. There was no lack of martial spirits, I couldn't leave at all." That's right, not everyone was like Fang Yu, who had the ability to fight above his level. In fact, the reason why Fang Yu could come and go freely in the beast tide was because this was related to the Dragon's Gate that Fang Yu had obtained. This was a very high-quality imitation, although it still belonged to the category of imitation, but it was much better than ordinary imitation by a lot. Therefore, it had extraordinary power. If it was an ordinary Dragon's Gate, before Fang Yu completely controlled it, it would not be able to be used to such an extent. The answer was obvious. Therefore, Fang Yu's experience was not suitable to be applied to anyone. Her condition was very bad, but I was very worried that she would fight to the death, so I pretended to be calm, not letting her see my vigilance. As expected, when she saw that I was not hostile, she did not attack me immediately, which made me relieved. Then she spoke. She said that she needed to rest in my shadow for 2 days, and then she would give me an incomparable reward. Speaking of this, Jiang Zhenyu did not know whether to laugh or cry. At that time, I did not dare to say no, but things had come to this point, I could only bite the bullet and agree. I looked very comfortable, she could not see my fear, and thought that I had a card up my sleeve, and she had no other choice, so we foolishly cooperated. About 2 days later, she recovered a lot, probably relying on some ancient and mysterious methods. Then she told me about the saint's ruins, and I vaguely guessed that she came from there. Jiang Zhenyu said with a serious face, "Or, she came with the ruins. Is there a difference between the two?" Beiji Ong asked coldly. "There is," Jiang Zhenyu said seriously. "The difference is her relationship with the ruins. Coming from the ruins means that she has a very close relationship with the ruins, and can even easily obtain the fortune inside. Although her actual situation is the same, she did not come from the ruins, but came with the ruins." "Is that so?" Fang Yu was surprised, but at the same time, he reassessed the vampire. Vampire Xueming, previously, was wrapped in a dark gray color, like a kind of protective color. Now that she had fainted, this layer disappeared, and Fang Yu could clearly see what Xueming looked like. She was a beauty through and through. Her facial features were completely in line with the aesthetics of the myriad spirit continent. If Fang Yu didn't know that she was actually a vampire, a so-called member of the blood clan, he wouldn't have been able to tell that she wasn't human. TSK, why are vampires the same as humans? Fang Yu clicked his tongue in amazement. There's nothing strange about that. There are legends that claim that vampires were actually humans in ancient times, but after going to a different world, they underwent some special changes and changed into vampires. Rumor has it that it's related to some kind of terrifying good fortune. Long Tianxian said indifferently. Terrifying fortune? Fang Yu asked. Terrifying fortune. Long Tianxian nodded. Not all fortunes are beautiful. For example, if you want to obtain the fortune of a blood race saint, you might turn into a vampire. No way. Fang Yu was a little uneasy. However, it was only a little, because the reason why Fang Yu wanted to fight for the saint's fortune was completely because of the Super Slaughter System's mission. And, after thinking, Fang Yu suddenly pondered. Super slaughter system, Black Beast. Could it be that the Black Beast would be the first target to be slaughtered? Of course, this was just Fang Yu's own thoughts. Whether it was true or false, he did not know. However, he had a hunch. The possibility was very high. I wonder what the reward will be if I really slaughter the Black Beast clan? As soon as this thought appeared, Fang Yu felt that he was thinking too much. The Black Beast clan still had an existence that was about to become a deity. This existence was not dead yet. It was too difficult to exterminate the Black Beast clan. Taking a step back, Fang Yu was not even a martial king. It was too far away for him to think about exterminating the Black Beast clan. The rest of the matter was to communicate and confirm the plan to enter this place. Sigh. Jiang Zhenyu sighed again and again. In the end, when we entered, she confessed everything. She said that there was a problem with the inheritance here. There was yin and yang, one real and one fake. The fake could only reach the level of a martial saint, while the real could fight with a martial emperor like the owner of the inheritance. I agreed to only take the fake one, so we went on the journey together and met you guys. I see. There is a difference between real and fake. Fang Yu suddenly understood. She also said that if one is not a pure-blood vampire, it is impossible to successfully accept the inheritance here. Jiang Zhenyu added. There is such a thing. Fang Yu was shocked and quickly confirmed with the system. System, when I received the inheritance here, it did not say that I need a powerful one, right? Ding. The host only needs to obtain one of the inheritances to complete the mission. That's great. Fang Yu sighed in relief. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. You are willing to give up the inheritance? Biziang asked in disbelief. This was an inheritance that could allow one to become a martial saint. These hidden families were in urgent need of it. Now that they were about to obtain the martial saint's inheritance, they were willing to give it up to Fang Yu. Was this for real? Of course it's for real. Since I did not get it in the end, I don't feel bad giving it up. Jiang Zhenyu said generously. However, I can't give it up for free. You have to help me get the Sun rating. As long as you get the Sun rating, I can give you the inheritance. Jiang Zhenyu said. Her idea was simple. Since she had not gotten the inheritance yet, it was impossible to say that she could get it with 100% certainty. Since that was the case, she might as well exchange some promises and guarantees from Fang Yu. Indeed, Fang Yu was a very domineering and violent person. If she wanted to become an enemy of Fang Yu, she had to think of the consequences of failure. If she did not even think of the consequences of failure before fighting with Fang Yu, it was better to go home and sleep early. After seeing the failure of blood tea, Jiang Zhenyu no longer had any thoughts of fighting for it. She would rather exchange it for greater benefit. It is a bit difficult. But I agree. Fang Yu agreed without hesitation. Jiang Zhenyu was ecstatic. As for the other things, I can only start from her. But asking directly is definitely not possible. I should try the new function of the soul book page. Fang Yu rubbed his chin as he thought to himself. Chapter 422. Rumble. Under the sky, Yao Feng stood with his hands behind his back. Thunder roared in the sky as if it was a sign of something. You've finally changed your mind? Suddenly, a figure slowly appeared. It was Vice Principal Wang. Vice Principal Wang had returned to the Azure Dragon Institute as he had many things to deal with. He did not expect that as soon as he returned, he would receive news from a friend in the Azure Dragon Mirror. He had no choice but to turn back and make a trip. Looking at the white-haired Vice Principal Wang, Yao Feng smiled. What do you mean by changing my mind? I've only completed half of the extreme energy pill. It's time for me to leave. What? You've completed the extreme energy pill? Vice Principal Wang's expression changed immediately. It was difficult for him not to be shocked. because they were talking about the extreme energy pill. Potion Maniac had been trapped here for many years, and it was closely related to the extreme energy pill incident. Is it true that you've completed the extreme energy pill? Sensing the eagerness in Vice Principal Wang's eyes, Potion Maniac smiled and said, "Although I've completed it, your cultivation level is too high. Currently, there's no pill suitable for you." It's fine, it's fine." Vice Principal Wang waved his hand cheerfully. As long as there was something, there was no harm in waiting. You're about to become a martial emperor, right? After we return, I'll arrange for you to make up for what you've done all these years in one go," Vice Principal Wang said after a pause. Yao Feng did not object to this. If he wanted to refine a more powerful pill, he would need a stronger cultivation. Only then could he refine a more powerful pill. However, in theory, there was no such relationship and no such restriction. However, Yao Feng knew that theory and practice were two different things. They could not be lumped together. Even if he preferred alchemy over martial cultivation, if he wanted to go further on the path of alchemy, martial cultivation was essential. "Oh? You're a half-grandmaster now." Vice Principal Wang's expression changed, as if he had sensed something. How could his expression not change? It was easy to become a master alchemist, but difficult to become a grandmaster alchemist. As long as the talent of a master alchemist was not bad, it was only a matter of time before he stepped into the master alchemist realm. For example, Lu Xinjian, who was in the same team as Fang Yu, was a half-grandmaster alchemist. It was true that a master alchemist and a master alchemist was a master alchemist. Lu Xinjian was a master alchemist at such a young age. It could be said that as long as Lu Xinjian wasn't a rare unlucky person, it was only a matter of time before he became a master. However, it was different for grandmasters. Out of 100 alchemy grandmasters, there might not even be one alchemy grandmaster. Of a half-master alchemists. But there was a. Potion Maniac chuckled and said. Then, he told Vice Principal Alchemist how he met Fang Yu and became his disciple by chance. Of course, according to Potion Maniac, Fang Yu begged to be his disciple. Otherwise, Potion Maniac would rather die. In the end, Potion Maniac reluctantly agreed to accept him as his nominal disciple. Fang Yu really helped him complete the alchemy, so he accepted him as his official disciple. Why do you sound so weird? Is Fang Yu that kind of person? Vice Principal Wang was a little suspicious and doubtful, because the Fang Yu he knew was definitely not the guy Potion Maniac was talking about. It was probably harder to get Fang Yu to lower his head and beg to be someone else's disciple. Therefore, he thought Potion Maniac was bragging. Look at what you're saying. Do you think I would do such a thing? Moreover, I'm a half-grandmaster. Those who know alchemy admire me and want to be my disciple. What's so strange about that? Potion Maniac smiled confidently and said, Now that you mention it, there's nothing wrong with it. Vice Principal Wang nodded slightly. Anyway, I'm going to leave here. Potion Maniac saw that he had said enough and immediately changed the topic. As for this guy, I don't think it's good that he went to find the saint's relic. Many people have died in the saint's relic. Vice Principal Wang sighed and said, A large number of names have disappeared. It seems that someone is unscrupulous in order to enter the saint's relic. Potion Maniac was also silent. He could be considered a senior in Azure Dragon Institute. Now that many students who participated in the semifinals had died because of these reasons, he was also upset. What's more ironic is that these guys who were used as tools most likely did it willingly. Vice Principal Wang was quite helpless. He had participated in the selection and entered Azure Dragon Institute in the past. Although Vice Principal Wang was born and raised in Azure Dragon Institute, his parents had made great contributions to Azure Dragon Institute. According to the Azure Dragon Institute's rules, they might be lenient. However, Vice Principal Wang still volunteered to go through the process and eventually rose up. Therefore, Vice Principal Wang was very clear about the psychological state of these students. He knew very well that as long as there was a slight chance, they would do their best to break through to the creation realm. Unfortunately, in front of the creation realm, it was destined to be a pile of bones. If they did not do so, it was very likely that they would become martial spirits, martial kings, and reach the peak. Now, for the so-called creation realm, they were used as tools and died in front of the saint's relic. The temptation of the saint's relic is too great. Even you and I back then were probably not exempt. Yao Feng calmed down. It was not that he had not experienced the temptation of the relic and the creation realm. Back then, there were also many geniuses who participated in the selection with them. Some were even very powerful. However, in the end, they fell in front of him and Wang Delong. In the end, Wang Delong and Yao Feng became the most outstanding freshmen at that time. As for that kid Feng Yu, he's very smart. I'm afraid there won't be any big problems. If there really is a problem, under the circumstances that I've already reminded him, he can only reap what he sowed. Yao Feng said leisurely, however, if he can enter the institute alive, I'll give him the medicine immortal token that I obtained back then. Medicine immortal token? Is that true? Vice Principal Wang was taken aback. This thing was not a joke. Of course it's true. This thing, it's useless for me to go now, but it's just right for him. Yao Feng replied, the premise is that he can walk out of it alive. Page of the Soul Book. Feng Yu summoned the page of the Soul Book. It was faintly discernible between his eyebrows. Chapter 423. Compared to before, the page of the Soul Book had become much thicker. After all, it had swallowed another page of the Soul Book. Although it was still far from being complete, it had still recovered some of its ability. Buzz! As the page of the Soul Book emitted a soft light, a mysterious power spread out. What is this? Jiang Zhenyu and Beijiang were shocked. Although they came from a hidden family, the Soul Book page was too rare. It was not something that could be obtained just because they wanted it. Moreover, Feng Yu did not fully reveal it and only hid it between his eyebrows. Even if their knowledge was not weak, they still could not see what it was. At this time, Feng Yu had already pulled Blood Tea's soul into the soul world. This is her soul? TSK. Feng Yu looked at the shadow with the outline of a bat in front of him and clicked his tongue in wonder. Although the appearance could change thousands of times, the soul was often the same as the original body. For example, Blood Tea. She said she was a vampire, but she was actually an exquisite Batwoman. Therefore, her body looked very similar to a Batwoman, but it was not the same. Compared to a bat, she was more like a human. What is your name? What is your purpose in coming to the Myriad Spirit Continent? What do you want to say about the Saint Ruins? Feng Yu asked all the questions he wanted to ask in one breath. My name is Blood Tea, a 9th-generation descendant of the vampire. I came to the Myriad Spirit Continent to obtain the Saint Ruins. My knowledge about the Saint Ruins is limited. It is only divided into life and death, yin and yang, and true and false. Xueming told him everything he knew. The general situation was not much different from what she told Jiang Zhenyu. The reason why Blood Tea came to the Myriad Spirit Continent was related to her search for the Saint Ruins. The ruins of the Blood Race Saint were not completely dead. They could move freely in Blood Tea's world. Blood Tea had been carelessly brought to the Myriad Spirit Continent during his most recent pursuit. She did not know if it was good luck or bad luck. After coming here, the blood in her body told her that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to enter the Saint Ruins. Little did she know that she met Feng Yu, a guy who did not play by the rules. He had forcefully defeated her. In fact, Xueming still had some trump cards that he could use. Unfortunately, against Fang Yu, he would not have the chance to use them after failing once. She wasn't prepared to use her previous words before she was truly defeated. After all, before obtaining the inheritance, whether or not he could return, and how he could return, were both major problems, all right? She was a vampire, a rare creature in the myriad spirit continent. If she were to be targeted by some expert who wanted to capture her as a pet, it would be too late to cry. Therefore, before she was certain that she would lose, she was unwilling to use the supreme treasure that she carried with her. If they didn't, then they would be captured by Fang Yu and held captive. Of course, she was still naive in some aspects. Even if she could escape the first calamity, she could still be defeated and captured by Fang Yu later on. This was something that both Beiji Ang and Jiang Zhenyu agreed with. Fang Yu was too monstrous. It simply couldn't be explained with common sense. Even the descendants of reclusive families like them were no match for Fang Yu. They couldn't understand where such a monstrous genius had come from. TSK. How cunning. What kind of saint is she? She looks very cunning. Fang Yu secretly ridiculed. Wasn't that right? At a glance, one could tell that she was a sly old fox who knew how to fool people. Would a normal person build such a tomb? Even a martial emperor didn't know how to play such a fancy game. However, she can sense that it has a lot to do with her bloodline atavism. This is an important point that needs to be tested. Fang Yu couldn't help but think. According to Xue Ming's description, this tomb belonged to the second generation of the blood race. He was one of the first generation of the blood race and had a high status. He was also very smart and was famous for that. After he passed away, his moving mausoleum was often unreachable. Only those whose bloodlines resonated with him had the opportunity to enter. However, none of those who entered returned. It was rumored that they had all become slaves in the tomb. Why was that? Some people said that the moving tomb couldn't move forever. If it wanted to move, it needed a certain amount of power. Where did the power come from? It could only be provided by some external living creatures. Because of that, the tomb had always attracted people to enter and then imprison them. Even so, the secret of the tomb was still inexplicably leaked. No one knew who released the news, but every piece of news seemed to be true. It even completely matched the conclusions of some mighty figures who had observed the tomb closely. Therefore, even if the tomb was dangerous, countless blood race still flocked to it and left their lives inside. However, Xue Ming could feel that she was different. She might be the legendary Heaven's chosen one. She would definitely succeed. She's full of confidence. Fang Yu muttered. Think about it. How many of those who died in this place didn't think that they were the chosen one? Just like those who drowned, most of them could swim. It seems that I won't be able to get anything out of her even if I continue to interrogate her. However, this new soul interrogation function is really useful. Fang Yu clicked his tongue in wonder. Soul interrogation was a name he had given himself. It was probably to hypnotize the other party's soul and make them unknowingly reveal all their secrets. Ah! Suddenly, her soul returned to her body and Xue Ming woke up. What's wrong? What happened? Xue Ming muttered to herself, not knowing what had happened. You woke up? Fang Yu asked. Fang Yu. Recognizing Fang Yu's voice, Xue Ming was shocked. When she wanted to get up, she found that Fang Yu was sitting on her. Being sat on by him? Xue Ming was stunned. What kind of situation was this? Xue Ming, we lost. Just now, he used some means to investigate you. I don't know the details, but I'm afraid you have confessed everything. Jiang Zhenyu smiled bitterly. What? Xue Ming was like being struck by lightning. Is this true? It's absolutely true. Biziang helped to speak. How could this be? Xue Ming muttered to herself. She took the initiative to confess everything to Fang Yu? Is this true? How is this possible? Sister, don't think too much. Since you have confessed, I won't talk nonsense with you. You can be my guide, and I will still give you the inheritance. How about it? Fang Yu said with a smile. You want the inheritance, and I want another fake inheritance. Jiang Zhenyu wants the sun rating. By the way, Biziang, what do you want? Why don't we split it? Chapter 424. Biziang was silent. They were clearly suppressed by Fang Yu and had no choice but to submit. Why did it seem like they were colluding with Fang Yu? What was going on? What was going on? In addition to the inheritance, there are also some secret treasures of the vampires. They are very precious. Although they won't bring you back to life, they are first-rate life-saving treasures. It's equivalent to having an extra life. Xueming said. Although she couldn't understand this unexpected development, it was undoubtedly for the best that Fang Yu didn't intend to compete with her for the real inheritance of the vampires. Anyway, she needed someone to bear the fake inheritance so that she could get the final benefit. As for who got it, she didn't care. Fang Yu was fine. Jiang Zhenyu was fine. It was fine as long as they reached an agreement. Then why did I run away just now? Why did I take this beating? Xueming was in a mess. If she had known that Fang Yu meant this, she wouldn't have fought with Fang Yu. She didn't know how to complain. Okay. After a long silence, Biziang still said the word okay. Although he was indignant, he finally understood the situation. In the current situation, he probably couldn't beat Fang Yu and Xueming. At most, he could tie with Jiang Zhenyu. How could he play? In comparison, working together seemed to be the best outcome. After all, cooperation was better than cooperation after a fight. Haha, why didn't you say so earlier? Then again, was the heaven-cleaving alliance created by you, Biziang? Fang Yu asked again. When he was interrogating her, although he mainly asked about the saint's ruins, he asked about some side issues, such as the heaven-cleaving alliance, and so on. There was no other reason but to ask. It would be best if he could get the answer. If he couldn't, he wouldn't lose anything. Anyway, it was free, right? Little did he know that Xueming really knew the details of the establishment of the heaven-cleaving alliance. Fang Yu immediately understood what was going on. He was filled with emotion. It's me. Biziang was silent for a while, but he finally admitted it. In fact, he didn't want to admit it, but Fang Yu's eyes were bright, and there was even a hint of affection in them. He couldn't take it anymore and had to admit it. So it's you. Tell me, why are you targeting me? Fang Yu asked. The bird that sticks out gets shot. Biziang's reply was simple and powerless. So, what is your real evaluation of me? Fang Yu asked with great interest. Although Biziang didn't want to answer this question, Fang Yu insisted, so he had no choice but to answer. He slowly said, We think that your rise to power was an accident. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are strong or terrifying. That's because your background is ordinary. Most likely, you've obtained some kind of heaven-defying fortune. We have seen many of these people and even killed many of them. They will be weak in the future, so there is nothing to be afraid of. Moreover, the ranking list lasts for a month. In fact, not to mention the first few days, even on the 7th day, before the Forbidden Zone, or even after half a month, we don't care about the changes on the ranking list. What we care about is the final ranking and result. Everything else is not important. Although Biziang was fierce, he was straightforward. Since Fang Yu asked, he was the one who did it, so he wasn't afraid to say it. Your analysis of me is quite reasonable. To everyone's surprise, Fang Yu actually gave his affirmation, causing everyone present to click their tongues in wonder. It can't be right? He didn't get angry? Jiang Zhenyu muttered. Wasn't that right? Fang Yu wasn't a stingy person, but to say that Fang Yu was magnanimous, that was definitely not the case. Right now, Biziang's words weren't polite at all, but Fang Yu didn't blame him. Since when was this person so magnanimous? Speaking of which, who do you think will be the real number one this time? Fang Yu ignored Jiang Zhenyu's muttering and continued. Lai Li. Biziang said without hesitation. Lai Li's talent might be above Lidi's. This isn't just a saying. Lai Li really has talent and ability. Up until now, she had Mayan covering for her, so we didn't see her true ability. But even so, our intuition tells us that Lai Li is above you. Your words are really infuriating. Fang Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Even if I don't care about what you said just now, I'm still not happy with what you said. If you're not happy, then I won't say it. Biziang was quite decisive. If you say that you're not happy, then I won't look for trouble. Don't. Fang Yu quickly said with a smile. You say what you want, I'm not happy, there's no conflict. There's really no conflict? Biziang was a bit doubtful. There's really no conflict. Why would I lie to you? Fang Yu said seriously. Right, Jiang Zhenyu, don't you have a grudge against Lai Li? Looking at you, you also admit that Lai Li is first? Jiang Zhenyu's expression didn't change. I'm not happy with her, but I still admit that she's strong. I'm not a branch family disciple like Swamu. Oh, so it's like that. Please continue. Fang Yu said to Biziang. Then I'll continue. In fact, other than Lai Li, the others are all a bit weaker. But it's just a bit weaker. Mayan is one of them. You should know her, right? Biziang asked. I know her. She's my little brother Kogura's fiancée. Speaking of which, why are my little brother's partners so tough? If they don't cultivate properly, they'll become henpecked men in the future. Fang Yu was worried about his little brother Kogura and Bai Wuxia. Jiang Zhenyu and the others rolled their eyes. What was he thinking? The strong didn't care about gender. The strong were strong and the weak were weak. At the same time, in the depths of the tomb, a figure with closed eyes slowly opened his eyes. How could it be like this? How could it be like this? I clearly saw the development of the future. Although it wasn't a complete future, I should have succeeded. At least, my previous feeling didn't change. But just now, I felt that the future had changed. Regarding my future, I'm not a winner. I've become a loser. Why is it like this? Why would such an accident happen to the development of the future? The figure muttered to himself, getting more and more excited. The originally silent vitality was about to recover. Fortunately, at the last moment, he restrained himself and didn't completely recover. His vitality was really inexhaustible. He couldn't waste it. Damn it, I can't even see what's going on. Why is the future so unexpected? The figure racked his brains, but couldn't figure it out. Chapter 425. Since that's the case, let's mess it up and make it chaotic. This figure was already on the brink of death. There were very few chances for him to make a move. If he wanted to succeed after so many years of planning, he had to do something. Otherwise, if he allowed this to continue, it might all go down the drain. So I have no choice but to let them out? This figure thought, but in fact, he had already made his move. Rumble, inside the ruins, in some very ancient places, a large gate slowly rose. In the next moment, pairs of eyes suddenly opened. They realized that the gate had been opened. Is this true? The gate is open. Can we go out? Maybe it's a conspiracy. Even if it's a conspiracy, we have to go out. Could it be that someone else entered this place and even broke the trap set by him, so we're free? These figures who were on the verge of death all crawled to their feet. They were burning their last bit of life force, wanting to escape. Although they were on the brink of death, there were still many treasures in the tomb that could not be taken away. If they could find them and swallow them, they would definitely recover. On the other hand, if they did not take the opportunity to leave this place, the gate would fall again, and they would really have no chance. Suddenly, Mo Ling, who was moving forward, stopped. Something's wrong. Mo Ling said. She and Feng Yaoguang only had a dispute, but in the end, they were still on the same boat and would not harm each other. Moreover, she did not know how much Feng Yaoguang had recovered. If she forced a fight and could not defeat Feng Yaoguang, it would be a huge loss of face. She did not want to do such a thing. Feng Yaoguang did not say anything, but she silently agreed with Mo Ling's words. A lot of powerful auras were coming at them. These auras are very strange. There are a lot of them, but they are also very weak. It's as if they have been imprisoned here for a long time and suddenly regained their freedom. Feng Yaoguang said indifferently. That's strange. Let me do some calculations. That's it. No need, forget it. They're coming. However, before Mo Ling could finish her words, several figures had already arrived as scheduled. They were all strangely shaped creatures. Some were like large batmen, some were like wolves, but without exception they were all very weak. Is it a creature here? Did he come to the place he wanted to come? He said that if we don't die in the end, he will bestow us with good fortune. In the past, we were all favored by the heavens. What kind of fortune can make up for our losses over the years? These creatures could all speak a common language similar to human speech, so it wasn't hard to understand. Feng Yaoguang and Mo Ling were both shocked. Were these the geniuses who had been trapped here in the past? Furthermore, it was not a creature from the myriad spirit continent. It seems like this place is really a moving mausoleum. However, I don't know why it has come to the myriad spirit continent this time. It could also be done on purpose. It specifically landed on the myriad spirit continent. Feng Yaoguang muttered to herself, her eyes shining brighter. She felt that she had guessed correctly. Swish. In the next moment, a figure charged over. Even though they were all on the verge of death, when they really attacked, their speed was still as fast as lightning, suffocating everyone. Be careful. Mo Ling's face instantly changed. Fast, too fast. With such speed, if she was caught off guard, she wouldn't be able to block it and would suffer a great loss. Little did they know that Feng Yaoguang raised her hand gently, and a light seal appeared. The light seal was very powerful, and it directly stopped the invading creatures. Then it killed them. Boom! With a bang, the creature was torn into pieces. Seeing this, Mo Ling was stunned. When did Feng Yaoguang become so powerful? Although Mo Ling knew that as Feng Yaoguang remembered more and more things, she would become stronger and stronger, she was already so terrifying now. Was she going to become so powerful? They were all very powerful creatures in the past. I'm afraid their true strength is at the martial king or martial emperor realm. Feng Yaoguang said slowly. You can tell? Mo Ling was amazed. Yes, their vitality has already been exhausted. They can be used as tools, but it's wishful thinking to revive them. Feng Yaoguang said mercilessly. You're talking nonsense. These creatures were agitated. This time, they ran out in search of a chance of survival. As long as they could find something nourishing, they would be able to revive. They didn't believe that they would die here. Definitely not. Do you know what it means to be weak and unable to withstand nourishment? In your current state, if you were to be nourished, I'm afraid you'll die faster. Feng Yaoguang continued. Sister, I think you'd better not say anything. Mo Ling smiled bitterly. Although she wasn't afraid of these creatures, there were too many of them. She was still a little afraid. Now that she was provoked by Feng Yaoguang, wasn't she asking for trouble? I'll kill them all alone. Feng Yaoguang was very ferocious now. If she wanted to kill, she would kill. If she wanted to attack, she would attack. What happened all of a sudden? Feng Yu and the others sensed the change in the ruins, and their expressions darkened. It seems that some of the things here have been released. Xue Ming's face suddenly turned pale. Released? Everyone was confused. What did it mean to release them? Release them, that's what it means. Rumor has it that not all of the geniuses here are dead. Some of them stayed behind to act as energy sources. Otherwise, this ruin wouldn't be flying in the sky all the time. Being able to act as long-term energy sources means that there are still living creatures, and there are quite a few of them. However, their condition is very poor and can only be used as energy sources. It's impossible for them to escape. After so many years, if they could escape, they would have done so long ago. Why would they wait until now? But now they're released. Could it be that the old ancestor here has discovered us? Is he trying to annihilate us? Xue Ming muttered to herself in fear. I already said that he's your old ancestor. Why would he be so ruthless? Fang Yu asked in surprise. He's just an old ancestor, but after several generations, he's no different from a passerby. If it weren't for the bloodline in my body, I wouldn't have tried to get close and be brought to this place. Xue Ming smiled helplessly. It seems that this is a trap. Perhaps the people here are still alive. What is he waiting for? Fang Yu touched his chin and said, That's right. The current change could be said to be sudden. It was completely different from what Xue Ming had expected. It was impossible for such a change to happen for no reason. It could only be that the creatures here had sensed something and wanted to attack them to prevent any accidents. Chapter 426. There are too many of them. Even if it's us, we won't be able to kill them all, Xue Ming said seriously. Furthermore, when they were at their peak, they were the pride of their respective factions. Even if they are not dead yet, we can't underestimate them. That makes sense. Fang Yu nodded. So, let's run away now. You can actually make running away sound so refreshing. Jiang Zhenyu was speechless. I say, little sister, there are too many of them. It's not that I don't want to fight, but I have to be able to win first. If I can't win, I won't run. If I'm not an idiot, what am I? Fang Yu sighed softly. Besides, there are so many people who have entered this place. There's no need for us to work so hard. Wouldn't it be better if we wait until they've dealt with most of these fellows before making our move? That's a good idea. But will it really work? Beijiang asked. He was definitely not pouring cold water on them. However, if there were too many enemies, and they were allowed to defeat all the other fighters, they would still end up dying miserably. Then, the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind, would undoubtedly become a joke. One had to admit that Beijiang's words were not without reason. Fang Yu hesitated. However, Fang Yu did not take the risk and decided to wait and see. Let's wait and see. I still have some companions. Let's meet up with them first. Fang Yu said. We don't have to take the initiative to meet up. Someone suddenly said. The one who spoke was Xue Ming. What do you mean? Fang Yu asked again. I feel that the current situation is a little strange. It's as if the living people here are deliberately being forced to a certain place. This change is too strange. Normally, it shouldn't be like this. But it's really happening. It can only be that there is someone who wants to take control of everything, who wants to set everything right. Xue Ming explained his analysis. Fang Yu was deep in thought. If that was the case, his guess should be correct. The so-called inheritance was very likely a trap. It was not that it was a complete trap, but the inheritance was just a cover, in order to hide some kind of conspiracy. Although I don't want to admit it, in my world, there is a saying. Xue Ming wanted to say something but hesitated. What is it? Fang Yu's eyes narrowed. Saints don't die, they only wither away. I've been wondering if I can understand it. Saints don't die, they only wither away. But they are still very, very far away from death. Blood Tea said softly. In fact, I have some elders who aren't saints who have lived for a very, very long time. They don't have the physique of immortality. It's just that the Blood Clan has a unique advantage in terms of lifespan. When it's time for them to pass away, they still live for several hundred more years. A few hundred years. Everyone was shocked. Several hundred years of time, to powerful martial artists, was just a snap of a finger. However, for someone who was about to pass away to live for several hundred years, this was very terrifying. Even though they were almost completely withered in the last few hundred years, they didn't die and retained a trace of vitality. We all wondered if they were still alive or dead. In the end, an elder dispelled my doubts. My elder said that they are now in a half-dead state. They may only have a day or half a day to live, but they still haven't died and can still struggle at death's door. This is a kind of life-prolonging method that can only be understood but not explained. Saints and above can easily grasp it, and below saints, it depends on one's comprehension. In the end, my elder warned me that although this is the case, I must not study or test whether saints are like this. Saints are not people we can speculate about. Xue Ming told him everything that had happened. It was definitely not that Xue Ming wanted to sell her clansmen, but she also realized that something was wrong. If there was any danger, she also did not want the inheritance. It was better to live than to die. As long as she lived, there was still a chance to find other fortunes. Moreover, she understood that this myriad spirit continent was very mysterious. In their world, many inheritances were directly based on one's bloodline. Without the relevant bloodline, wanting to obtain it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Even if it appeared in front of you, you could only stare at it helplessly. But the myriad spirit continent was different. Here, it depended more on whether one had fate. Although the word fate was nonsense most of the time, it didn't mean much. But it was still more reliable than bloodline. If it really did not work, she would just stay here and be a native. Fang Yu is not someone easy to deal with. If he is not willing to accept the saint's inheritance, then it can only mean that there is a problem with the saint's inheritance. I cannot take this risk. Xue Ming thought to herself. Fang Yu did not know what Xue Ming was thinking, but all the clues were gathered together. Indeed, the old fellows here were probably not all dead. If that is the case, then we are the ones who have delivered ourselves to the door. That's not right. My mission is to find the saint's ruins. Whether or not it is a trap, I have to take a look. Fang Yu thought to himself. As for why he did not covet or lust after it, it was because as long as the super slaughter system took away something, it would definitely give a corresponding or even greater return. Although there might be hidden dangers left behind, the super slaughter system should at least have a guarantee for these fortunes of unknown origins. At this moment, the entire Saint's ruins was in chaos. Roar! These people who were supposed to be squeezed until they died, in order to seek a chance of survival, all of them rioted. They were respected as geniuses in the past. Of course, they knew the purpose of letting them out this time. But so what? As long as they did not die, they would eventually rise again. Therefore, they were going to fight for their lives. Kill. Zhuomu, Luolan, and the others were ambushed by these creatures. Their scalps were numb, but they still fought. They came from a side branch of the martial emperor's family, so they were very clear about some secrets. They knew that once they retreated, it would be very troublesome. They could only fight. Bang! 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 One had to admit that Zhuomu spent a lot of effort to recover, but it was not in vain. The current Zhuomu was unbelievably powerful. It was terrifying. Although these powerful creatures were still hanging on by a breath, to the brave and undefeatable Luolan and the others, they were still unable to resist. They could not withstand the terrifying martial arts and the powerful spiritual weapons. What is going on here? Although Zhuomu had defeated the invading creatures, he was still terrified. So many powerful creatures from the past were attacking. It was too abnormal. This place was going to be chaotic. Chapter 427. It seems like they want to drive us to a certain place. So, are we going with the flow or what? Luolan asked with a frown. Although they were here to take revenge on Feng Yu, if they could obtain the inheritance here, it would be a good thing. Sage-level inheritances were highly sought after no matter where they were. Because in a martial emperor clan, a sage was one of the most powerful forces and could not be underestimated. Even though Zhumu and Luolan were the direct descendants of the three-eyed martial emperor, it was hard to say whether they could reach the sage level in the future. A sage was a stumbling block for geniuses. Many people who were astonishingly talented when they were young could not even touch the threshold of becoming a saint. How terrifying! If they could obtain the sage's inheritance, their status in the clan would definitely rise. Although they claimed to be favored by the young master, they knew very well that it was fake. It was all fake. Without enough strength, no matter what you said, it was all a lie. Therefore, while they were working for the young master, they were also thinking of ways to improve themselves and become stronger. Now that the opportunity had come, they would be lying if they said they did not seize it. Also, Feng Yu is very likely to have gone there. Luolan said. We should kill him before the inheritance. Or wait for him to touch the inheritance and kill him. There was nothing wrong with Luolan's idea. Feng Yu was definitely here for the inheritance. Since they had already entered the ruins, why would they still need to spend time looking for him? All he had to do was wait in front of the legacy and wait. It's a little tricky. There's something wrong with this Saint Ruins. Lai Yan's face was gloomy. She was a woman who was said to be more talented than the Lai Emperor. How could she not see that this place had been modified by someone? Otherwise, why would it change so quickly? Why would there be so many weak creatures with earth-shattering cultivation hibernating here? So it's a conspiracy? Did the Azure Dragon Academy deliberately spread the news and use us as stepping stones? Bai Wuxia's face was a little ugly. Not necessarily. Lai Yin shook her head. The Azure Dragon Academy once nurtured the young Emperor Qing. The only regret was that the Emperor Qing's upper limit was too high, and the Azure Dragon Academy could only teach him limited things. In other words, as long as the Azure Dragon Academy was willing to lower their stance, the Emperor Qing's family could send a proud son or daughter over every once in a while. There's no need to deceive us or even kill us. I can only say that the Azure Dragon Academy is not certain whether the Saint Ruins is real or not. They can only spread the information they know and see if we take the bait. Speaking of which, our family was the first to discover the Saint Ruins wandering in the space. However, it was inexplicably swallowed by the Azure Dragon Mirror in the end. It was truly an accident. Lai Meng's expression didn't change as he said, "It can only be that the Azure Dragon Academy didn't have enough time to research the origin of this item, so they staked everything on one throw to lure us here to participate in the selection. If someone succeeds, that would be for the best. We can't avoid being bound here for a few years. In the future, when we succeed, we must remember the Azure Dragon Academy's good. What if you don't succeed?" Bai Wuxia could not help but ask. If you don't succeed? In a place like this, if you don't succeed, it means you're dead. If you're dead, why are you still thinking so much? Lai Yin chuckled. That's true, Bai Wuxia said with a sigh. Death meant death. Be it saints or martial emperors, all of them grew up in a storm of blood. The winner was king and the living were kings. Let's go. We'll go in their direction. Mayan made a prompt decision. Since it was something that everyone could see, she naturally wouldn't be an exception and exempt herself from it. Since this was the general trend, why couldn't she give it a try and fight to the death once? But leader, her companions were hesitant. They were all barbarian prodigies. Although they were slightly weaker than Mayan, they were not inferior to Kegu Air. However, such a change made them fearful, and they wanted to retreat. Now that things have come to this, we can only continue forward. Although the Saint Remains is extremely dangerous, It's too late for you to leave now that you're here. Moreover, you also need a fortune to save your clans. Mayan said calmly, the black beasts that wreaked havoc on the myriad spirit continent are all dead, but the berserk beasts are not. Zwamu is one of them. However, it is impossible for us to kill Zwamu because he is protected by the three-eyed martial emperor. If we were to exterminate a bloodline related to him, we would incur the wrath of the martial emperor. Thus we cannot do that. Furthermore, those berserk beast bloodlines that have spread out on their own will most likely not dare to have any strange thoughts. The protection of the martial emperor is a double-edged sword. It doesn't allow us to rashly harm them. However, if they submit to the martial emperor and want to eat raw meat and drink blood like before, the martial emperor will personally clean up these scum. However, some of the berserk beast's descendants are still lurking in the land of the barbarians. Without the protection of the saints, they're not safe. Every year, they'll come out of the mountains and kill some of the clans that used to exterminate the berserk beast. It's true that such clans and forces can obtain the protection of the barbarian martial emperors, but there are times when the barbarian martial emperors can't help them. Mayan reminded his clansmen who were hesitant to move forward and advised them earnestly. Sometimes, a great enmity had already been formed. It wasn't that they wouldn't attack you if you didn't come. If they wanted to protect themselves, they had to be strong themselves. They were persuaded by Mayan. They didn't put their own lives and safety first. Their clansmen were the first in their hearts. If they could protect their clansmen, they wouldn't hesitate even if they had to take risks. As for the rest of the martial artists, there was no lack of quick-witted individuals. All of them could see that although these creatures were overflowing with killing intent, they were faintly forcing them towards a certain direction. From the looks of it, it was probably the core of this place. The word core made them think of the inheritance. They were forcing them to move toward the inheritance. Although they didn't know whether it was real or fake, and why, everyone was moving in this direction. They wouldn't be at a disadvantage if they followed. Looks like they've all gone. Xueming, tell me what you know about this place. Fang Yu watched from afar as some of the warriors were forced away by the creatures and changed the topic. What? This sudden turn of events stunned Xueming. When Fang Yu attacked her, she had probably said everything she could and couldn't say, as well as what was in her heart. What else did Fang Yu want her to say? Chapter 428. Other than the inheritance, what else is there? Fang Yu asked with a smile. Also, there are some blood clan cultivation techniques, elixirs, and spiritual weapons. Xueming replied in a daze. Although treasured medicines, spirit weapons, and the like had different names in different worlds. However, she had been with Jiang Zhenyu for a while and knew the difference. Most of the time, it was just a matter of how they addressed each other. Alright, take us there to look for it. Although there are some changes here, it shouldn't be a problem to just find them, right? Fang Yu asked with a smile. This? Xueming was confused. Why was it different from what they had agreed on? Weren't they talking about gathering at the place of inheritance? Why did they talk about other resources the moment they turned around? Hey, what's with that look? It's true that the inheritance is important, but as cultivators, resources are the most important. We can't lose sight of the bigger picture for the sake of small gains. Fang Yu said with a heavy heart. Lose sight of the bigger picture for the sake of small gains? Everyone's mouth twitched. Inheritance was small, but resources were big? They had to admit that Fang Yu's idea was very novel. What do you all think? Fang Yu looked at Xueming's hesitation and asked the others. I think it's okay. Beijiang was the first to express his opinion. Beijiang? Jiang Zhenyu asked in surprise. Why did Beijiang agree to Fang Yu's plan? The inheritance that you all took before, whether it's real or fake, I don't care. However, we agreed that I want resources. He wants to take the resources now, so why should I object? The resources in the Saint ruins, even a martial emperor clan would covet it. Beijiang said calmly. What he said was the truth. A martial emperor clan had a lot of asset. Unless it was the son of the first wife, it would be difficult to get a large amount of resources. In Beijiang's clan, the ancestor of the martial emperors called him the North Emperor. The North Emperor was a martial emperor who had lived for a very long time. Unfortunately, in the end, he was still unable to ascend to the starry sky. When he passed away, he was only a 4-star martial emperor. When the North Tharch was still alive, he had accumulated many resources for his clan, hoping to nurture many formidable martial artists. Little did they know that after so many years, despite spending a lot of resources, not a single person had managed to become a martial emperor. Even a sage could only withstand a single slap. What's more, while the North Tharch was still alive, 2 of them had passed away. Of the remaining 3, there was only 1 left. Fortunately, a new saint was born a few decades ago. He was Beijiang's father. However, Beijiang's father had only been able to become a martial saint because he had used the secret medicine that the North Tharch had left behind. For a martial sage who used a secret medicine, let alone a martial emperor, it was hard to say if he could even reach the peak of the martial sage realm. However, Beijiang's branch could already see the future of this generation. Their generation didn't have much hope left. Their only hope was Beijiang and the others. If that was not the case, Beijiang would not have wanted to kill so decisively, killing to become his second nature. This was because he did not have much room to be kind. He could only reveal his ferocious aura to intimidate those who had bad intentions. However, Beijiang had a very sharp premonition towards danger. For example, this time, Beijiang had sensed that something was amiss and there was a huge danger. Since Fang Yu and the others were willing to take the risk, then let them take the risk. He did not care. However, it was rare for Fang Yu to suggest that they should go and plunder resources and then search for the inheritance that he might not be able to obtain. Beijiang was more than happy to do so. However, this all right. Jiang Zhenyu sighed lightly. However, I want a portion of the things that we have obtained. Sure. Fang Yu agreed wholeheartedly. I didn't expect that there would be so many people here. Lu Tianbing and Lu Shuzhan, who had arrived early, found a corner and quietly observed the situation. The land of the historical remains was very big. However, under the influence of the living beings in the historical remains, everyone had gathered here without prior agreement. The center of this land, the place where the inheritance was located, after forcing them to this place, the living beings did not dare to enter. Lu Shuzhan and the others could see that the reason why the living beings did not continue to attack was definitely not because their mission was to chase the cultivators here. They were not chasing the cultivators away, they were chasing after the cultivators. Those who were not strong enough were directly killed. There was no such thing as entering the inheritance land. After all, these dying beings were actually very strong. They were only so weak because they had not moved for many years and did not have much spiritual energy in their bodies. Otherwise, they would be monster kings or even monster emperors, which was very terrifying. If they were not so weak, Lu Shuzhan and the others would not have had the chance to kill so many of them. The martial spirits were already difficult enough to deal with. Now, martial kings and even martial emperors. Lu Shuzhan did not dare to imagine. It's He Ping, and Kegu Air and the others. Soon, the sharp-eyed Lu Shuzhan found her own people. Where's Fang Yu? Lai Yang and Bai Wuxia walked closer and found that Fang Yu was not there. I don't know. Most of us were randomly assigned. Lu Shuzhan shook her head. She had already found out this from the conversations of the cultivators nearby. Obviously, the teleportation here was completely random. As for where they were teleported to, it depended on luck. In any case, Fang Yu was not with them. He can't be dead, right? Kegu muttered to himself. I don't think so. I just don't know where he went, Lu Shuzhan muttered. She had a faint premonition that Fang Yu was not here. She was afraid that something big was going to happen. At this time, Fang Yu really arrived in front of a huge stone room. This is the alchemy room. There are many elixirs in here. Xue Ming introduced. How do you know this is the alchemy room? Fang Yu asked curiously. In our world, there are corresponding symbols for refining elixirs and weapons. This is the symbol for the alchemy room. Xue Ming said snappily. Now that things have come to this, I won't trick you, right? That's hard to say. Those who are not of our race will definitely have different intentions. Beiji Ong said indifferently. Obviously, Beiji Ong still held a grudge against Xue Ming and Jiang Zhenyu for lying to him. Although he was not tricked in the end, Beiji Ong did not like being tricked. He hated this feeling. Xue Ming was unhappy and rolled her eyes. Aren't your pets also not of the human race? Will they be loyal to you? Why not? We have signed a contract. Why don't you sign a contract with Fang Yu? Beiji Ong said coldly, not giving Xue Ming any face. Chapter 429. Biziang, don't talk so much. Besides, you can't be a male chauvinist. Jiang Zhenyu frowned. Although he was not talking about her, Xue Ming had come with her. She had also played a part in deceiving Biziang. Therefore, when Biziang was targeting Xue Ming, he was actually talking about her. She did not like it. Alright. As long as there are enough resources, everything is easy. It's not a problem. Fang Yu said before Biziang could reply. Biziang snorted coldly. He gave Fang Yu some face and did not say anything else. Although he did not say it, Fang Yu had the highest prestige among them. If not for the fact that they were afraid of Fang Yu, they would not have joined forces. Therefore, since Fang Yu had spoken, he had to give him some face. There are not many defenses here, why? Xue Ming observed for a while, and was surprised to find that there were not many defenses in this alchemy room. Maybe they put all this energy into the defenses? Fang Yu said. That's possible. Xue Ming nodded and broke the defenses of the alchemy room. In the blood race, she was a proud daughter of the heavens, an elite of the younger generation. This kind of defense was not that strong. It was not a big problem to break it. Not to mention, the owner of this place did not care about the treasures inside at all. When Fang Yu and the others stepped into the alchemy room, their eyes widened. Medicinal herbs and pills filled their eyes. It made their hearts skip a beat. So many. Although the quality is not the best, the quantity is very impressive. It's terrifying. Jiang Zhenyu sucked in a breath of cold air. If she had known, she would have asked Xue Ming and her to take these pills. Only then would she have gone to look for the inheritance. That way, they would not have to be Fang Yu's prisoner. Fang Yu would take the bigger part and they would take the smaller part. Haha, there are many things. Why don't we gather them first and then split them? Although the medicinal herbs and pills are good, they are not very useful to us. Although they are not useless, it is a pity and a waste. Why don't we split them and see what we need? Fang Yu said with a smile. Is that so? The few of them looked at each other. Although they felt that Fang Yu probably had some sort of plan or idea, since this fellow wasn't so easy to talk to, they could only agree without any better ideas. In the land of the inheritance, this place was bustling with activity as the proud sons and daughters of heaven gathered here. Although it was not clear how many people, according to previous estimates, there were at least 30% less people. These 30% were probably killed and eaten. These ferocious beasts are extremely ferocious. They eat raw meat and drink blood. Yes, they must have been eaten by these beasts. Look at how hungry they are. They must have been used as energy here. This time they were released. Although they know that the person behind this is also using them and probably threw them away after using them, They have no choice but to believe and follow his orders. Could it be that the owner of this place is still alive? If he's not dead, how are we going to obtain the inheritance? There were many different opinions. Fang Yu is still not here. Seeing more and more people like this, Fang Yu still did not appear. Lu Shuzhan and the others were worried. Could something have happened to Fang Yu? I feel like I'm in danger, Lai Yan suddenly said. Me too. Feng Yaoguang agreed calmly. The previous Feng Yaoguang might be ordinary, but the current Feng Yaoguang was special. Her fate had changed. If the previous Feng Yaoguang's fate was dim, then the current Feng Yaoguang's fate was bright. She was the so-called person with great fate. Of course, things like fate couldn't be taken seriously. This was because there were many people who were born with all kinds of anomalies. In the end, they either didn't achieve great things or died. One could only say that such a person had great luck. No matter where they went, they could get good things and good fortune, making people drool. This was what people called the child of destiny. Although there were some differences, the difference wasn't that big. In a deeper layer of the land of inheritance, in the void, there was a figure watching coldly from the sidelines. He was the owner of this place, the owner of the inheritance. It's about time. There are good and bad people here. He was somewhat dissatisfied with the martial artists gathered here. Since he wanted to survive this time, he had to choose the best one. However, at a glance, the densely packed crowd was just ordinary people, which really put him in a bad mood. Fortunately, he still saw a few people with great fate. These few people, if they were to grow up, they would have great achievements. In addition to that, he himself, it could be said that he would definitely advance a step further. Come, good fortune, inheritance, I will give you all of them. This figure's eyes suddenly became fiery. He was gradually recovering his vitality. Because the time had come. All right, is everything here? Fang Yu looked at the large pile of pills and herbs in front of him and asked. Everything is here. Everyone answered. You didn't hide anything, right? Fang Yu frowned. No. Jiang Zhenyu was very unhappy. What was the meaning of this? Were they doubting her character? This was really, they didn't hide anything. I saw everything they did, there was no chance for them to hide anything. Beiji Ong said slowly. Beiji Ong, Jiang Zhenyu was really angered by him. Again and again, again and again. How could Beiji Ong give up? Did he really want to completely anger her and not give up until one of them was dead? All right. Since you want to cooperate sincerely, give me some face, okay? Fang Yu said solemnly, you all should trust me, right? Regarding this, everyone directly rolled their eyes at Fang Yu. You are the best at fighting. Of course, whatever you say is what it is. If you want them to trust you, they can only trust you. Although they thought so, they wouldn't stupidly say it out loud even if they were asked to. Because although Fang Yu said it didn't matter, if they really said something that made Fang Yu unhappy, they probably wouldn't have a good ending. That's great. Seeing everyone being so friendly, Fang Yu was very happy. Yes, Long Tianxian, do you have any pills that you need? Herbs are fine too. I can refine them for you. Fang Yu said excitedly. Just you? Your strength is not enough. Long Tianxian replied lazily. Are you looking down on me? Fang Yu was a bit unhappy. His talent in apothecary and the refined character formula had been acknowledged by half Zhongshu Yao Feng. It was a golden reputation, all right. Chapter 430. I'm not looking down on you. It's just that I'm in urgent need of high-quality lightning-attributed medicinal pills. Compared to materials, techniques, and experience, this type of medicinal pill needs a suitable environment. It needs to be filled with lightning and crackling. There's nothing here. Not only will it be strenuous for you to concoct the pills, the quality of the pills won't be too good. It's better not to waste the medicinal ingredients and leave them for later. Long Tianxian explained, so, I'm not looking down on you. I'm really not. If you didn't add the second half of your sentence, I might have believed you. Fang Yu said snappily. Hee, it's just a small matter. Don't mind it. Long Tianxian chuckled and said nonchalantly. Fang Yu rolled his eyes at this girl. It was easy for her to say. He had been directly despised. How could he pretend nothing had happened? What's this? Suddenly, someone discovered something and took out an item. It was an ancient scroll. It's written in the common language. Fang Yu took it and read it. God-slave pill? Fang Yu read the name and clicked his tongue in wonder. What the hell is a god-slave pill? God-slave pill? Is it really a god-slave pill? Xueming's eyes widened in surprise. So what if it's a god-slave pill? Fang Yu asked curiously. Obviously, this was not a famous pill on the myriad spirit continent. Otherwise, the descendants of the two reclusive families would have recognized it immediately. This is a very special pill that can control the mind of others. If I have to make an analogy, it's similar to the real and fake inheritance that I mentioned earlier. The power of the fake inheritance will be restrained by the real inheritance. However, the content of the pill formula has long been lost. I didn't expect it to be here. Xueming muttered to himself. So that's how it is. Let me take a look. Fang Yu nodded. As he browsed through it, he could not help but look surprised. All the things recorded in it. It's here again. Speaking of which, what's the specific quality of this pill that you mentioned? How powerful can it be? Can a sage do it? Fang Yu asked with great interest. Although he didn't say it out loud, Fang Yu's question was enough to guess what he was thinking. You can't be thinking of. Impossible. Blood Tea immediately denied it. Although it's theoretically possible, if you want to attack a sage, it's impossible, absolutely impossible. Let's not talk about whether it's possible or not. This type of pill doesn't seem to be difficult to refine? Fang Yu stroked his chin and said, What do you want? Don't tell me you're going to refine medicine on the spot? Jiang Zhenyu had a bad premonition. Well, we can give it a try. There's no harm in being prepared. It's too dangerous here. Fang Yu said seriously. I think something is starting to happen. Bei Zhiong suddenly said. Oh. Everyone was slightly taken aback. Bei Zhiong met everyone's gaze and said, Because of my bloodline, I can roughly sense some changes, dangerous changes. For example, something must have happened here, and we've suddenly fallen into a dangerous situation. Could it be that the owner of this place has awakened? Everyone immediately thought of this possibility. In truth, they were all not weak cultivators. Something that could threaten their lives. It was impossible for someone of the same level to do so. For example, if Bei Zhiong fought against Fang Yu, if he didn't think of counterattacking and only defended, Fang Yu wouldn't be able to take down Bei Zhiong. But now, Bei Zhiong felt an extreme sense of danger. Not good. Things were not good. At the same time, in the crowded land of inheritance, there were many whispers. What's going on? We've been looking for the inheritance for so long, and this is it? It's over? That's it? It shouldn't be. But there are so many people here. It's difficult to obtain the inheritance. Even if it's difficult, we still have to try. We can't just give up. Everyone present could no longer remain calm. In an instant, they were all itching to make a move. To them, it was rare for them to come into contact with a sage's inheritance. Even if they didn't succeed in the end and were just losers, they would have no regrets. Even if they died, they would have no regrets. This was because martial saints and martial sages were existences that most warriors did not even dare to dream of. Even in their dreams, they would not be able to achieve it. Now that there was a chance, they had to grasp it tightly and not give up. I feel like leaving. Lai Yin sighed. It's getting more and more dangerous here. I'm getting goosebumps. It's too scary, too scary. No way, it's too exaggerated. Kogure didn't believe it. It's true. This place has become very dangerous. Suddenly, someone approached. Kogure looked up and was shocked. Who else could it be but his fiancée, Mayan? Mayan. Kogure was shocked and wanted to escape, but he was caught by Feng Yaoguang. There are so many people here. Where do you want to go? Do you want to fight with the creatures in the ruins? Kogure lowered his head and didn't speak. That's right, given the current situation, if he really wanted to escape, where could he escape to? Kogure, don't worry. Even if we die here today, we'll die together. Mayan said with a smile. I don't want you to die, Kogure said helplessly. That's not important. There's going to be a big change here. When I arrived, we were fighting with the creatures in the ruins. They were all prostrating on the ground in fear. Mei An's expression was heavy. This situation is very rare. It can only be that something here has really awakened. Feng Yaoguang and the others' expressions changed. They didn't expect this situation to really develop. Maybe we've all been deceived. This Saint Ruins might be a trap, Lai Yin said. What it wants to do is to attract us here and then kill us all in one fell swoop. It can't be. So ruthless. Kogure's expression was ugly. There are so many of us. Is it really not afraid? As I said at the beginning, the owner of this place probably wants to be resurrected on the spot. This kind of person is very rare because it's too difficult. It's even more difficult than reincarnation because resurrecting on the spot is definitely better than reincarnation. There's still a possibility of failure in reincarnation, but resurrecting on the spot almost doesn't have such side effects. The only downside is that it's too difficult to resurrect on the spot. The success rate is close to 0, less than 1 in 10,000. So, anyone who dares to use this method is crazy. Since it's crazy, it doesn't care how many of us there are or whether it can kill us. It probably only wants to resurrect on the spot. Lai Yin expressed her opinion. The more she spoke, the more worried she became. She felt that things shouldn't be like this. What factors caused everything to change? Chapter 431. Buzz. Suddenly, a buzzing sound reverberated in the air. What's wrong? Everyone was taken aback and focused their attention on defense. Lucky ones, I am the saint, Sangtian Shui. Many people's pupils shrank when they heard this. Saint, Sangtian Shui? It's really a saint. This is a saint's ruin. A young man exclaimed. Eh? Then according to this, is Senior Sangtian Shui dead or? A tall and slender young girl was puzzled. Usually, this kind of senior who bestowed good fortune should have already passed away. However, this person was a little strange. Most likely, he has fallen. This thing is just left behind to seek fortune and find a successor for himself. A mature-looking martial spirit maintained a different opinion. Many martial artists were eager to try. They felt that they had been waiting for a long time and finally had their chance. Lai Yin did not think so. Danger, we are in a very dangerous situation. Lai Yin took a deep breath and said, we might not be able to return today. It can't be. Everyone's heart trembled. It's true. Something very dangerous will happen next. All I can say is, don't take anything from here. Otherwise, there will be endless trouble. Feng Yaoguang also stood out to warn them. Okay. Everyone looked at each other, but they still agreed in the end. After all, Feng Yaoguang and Lai Yan's words were indeed trustworthy. Moreover, if there were many good things and they did not collect them, it meant that the potential danger was too great and it was not worth the risk. Now, I will bestow fortune upon you. Everyone did not expect the owner of this place to be so forthright. He bestowed fortune upon them without saying anything. Is this true? The benefits are given so straightforwardly? It's good if it's true. I'm not greedy. I just want to become a martial emperor. Martial emperor. I just want to become a martial king. Martial king is the standard to graduate from the 4 academies. I don't ask for much. When I become a martial king, I will continue to stay and cultivate. I will strive for Azure Dragon Academy to subsidize me. Everyone was in high spirits, as if they had already received the inheritance and fortune bestowed by the people here. Something's not right. Is it mental manipulation? Feng Yaoguang narrowed her eyes. Mental manipulation? Wang Zhong had never heard of such a secret technique. This is a very ingenious secret technique. It's not very powerful, but the success rate is very high. For example, right now they don't completely believe in the so-called good fortune, but they're secretly looking forward to it. This is the result of being under the influence of mental manipulation. Lai Yen explained, this is a kind of secret technique that is widely spread, but most of it is passed down by word of mouth. There are no records of it. It is very rare in the myriad spirit continent. Why would it confuse you and change your mind for no reason? If you have a grudge against them, just kill them. Then the owner of this place wants to. The more Kager thought about it, the more terrified he became. If it was someone extremely powerful, they could just suppress him directly. What was the point of playing these tricks? It was truly frightening to think about it. Something must have happened to it. Although it can attack with force, now is not the time. Perhaps it is waiting for an opportunity to attack first to numb us. Before Lai Cheng could finish his words, the ground beneath everyone's feet began to shine. Rumble. Immediately after, stone paths rose from the ground. These stone paths lead to various fortunes. Those who are fated will obtain them. As soon as this voice finished speaking, someone immediately rushed forward. After a while, more than 90% of the people here had left. The remaining 10% were waiting to see what would happen. There's a piece of millennium cold iron here. The quality is very good, it's as big as a watermelon. It's a martial art. It's very close to a spiritual martial art. There's more than one. It's the 100 Transformations Blood Fusion Pill. It's actually the 100 Transformations Blood Fusion Pill. Following the exclamations, those who stayed behind could not remain calm. They were all the proud sons of the big families and would inherit their families in the future. Now that there were so many good things, as long as they could obtain some, they could increase the strength of their families. It was difficult for them to remain indifferent. It's as if they knew that we would be moved by this and attacked us. Everyone felt extremely terrified, greatly alarmed. This ability to guess people's minds was simply unparalleled. I wonder how Feng Yu is doing. Why hasn't he come yet? I don't believe that he's dead. Lu Shuzhan suddenly said. Although Lai Yang and the rest were here now and they were not considered to be powerless, without Feng Yu, they felt that something was missing. They did not have a backbone. He's fine. I even suspect that the changes now are related to Feng Yu. Mo Ling said slowly. Mo Ling met everyone's puzzled gaze and said, "Don't you think that the script of a historical site should not be written like this? It's so sudden, so sudden. It can only mean that something unexpected has happened and they have no choice but to do this. This accident is very likely to be Feng Yu." Mo Ling smiled helplessly and said, "Anyway, with my understanding of him, this is very likely." Everyone nodded in understanding. At this moment, Xuet Songtian, who was controlling the historical site, realized that something was wrong. A refining room in the historical site was not completely under his control and had not been moved. This was because the seal of this alchemy room had already been broken before this. The seal was actually a backup plan that he had left behind to control this place from a distance. Now that it had been broken, it was naturally impossible for him to control it as he wished. Forget it, it's just a refining room. It's not a big deal. Xuet Songtian did not take it to heart. Because he had been asleep for too long, Many geniuses of the blood tribe had broken in and wreaked havoc. Some places had been destroyed, but they did not have the time to repair them. After all, after entering this place, they suddenly realized that they might not have a chance to leave, so they immediately wanted to fight with their lives. However, since Xuet Songtian dared to let them in, he was not afraid that they would overturn the heavens. Therefore, the geniuses who entered were all imprisoned and constantly oppressed until they died. After one batch died, another batch came. Xuet Songtian was always looking for a way to revive on the spot. Because of this, Xuet Songtian would sometimes ruthlessly kill his descendants when he encountered them. If he did not kill them, the secret might be exposed. This was not desirable. Later on, he deduced that the opportunity was not in the land of the blood tribe, but in the myriad spirit continent, so he turned around. He had spent a lot of energy and vitality. This time, he had finally found a few big fish, and he was not going to let them go. Although Lai Yen and the others had not stepped onto any of the stone paths yet, he firmly believed that they would be tempted in the end. He had accumulated many years, and there were still some bargaining chips that others could not refuse. He was waiting for the big fish to take the bait. In the refining room, Fang Yu, it's already like this. Are you really going to refine medicine? Jiang Zhenyu asked with a strange expression. Why can't I refine medicine? I think it's good to be prepared. Fang Yu said calmly. Chapter 432. You are really preparing to deal with the sage. Even Biziang could not bear to continue watching. I allow you to fantasize, but you can't go overboard like this. I am really preparing to deal with the sage. Fang Yu's eyes shone brightly. His serious expression made others feel helpless. Alright, since you say we are going to deal with them, then we are going to deal with them. How are you going to deal with them? Biziang asked curiously. The pills are just a backup plan. Of course, I have my own trump card. Fang Yu said confidently. Old brother, do you really have some method to deal with them? Long Tianxian popped out and asked, if you do, how come I don't know about it? We have so many treasures that I can't even remember them all. As for dealing with the sage, this is not easy to deal with. Fang Yu revealed a difficult expression. Long Tianxian looked at Fang Yu as though he was looking at an idiot. Not easy to deal with? Even the soul of the sage was extremely powerful. Even if he used the soul book page, he might not be able to kill the sage. Let's wait and see. In any case, I have a premonition that we can't go over now. Fang Yu returned to the main topic. We can't go over now? Long Tianxian was shocked. How should I put it? It's this kind of thing. Either we rush over as soon as possible or we wait for a bit before going over. If we go over now, we won't get any benefits. Let's wait a bit. Fang Yu replied. That seems to make sense, eh? Are you going to take out the Black Beast Cauldron to refine pills? Seeing that Fang Yu was about to refine pills, Long Tianxian was not surprised. The Black Beast Cauldron was very dangerous. Who knew when the fellow inside would revive? Fang Yu still dared to take it out to refine pills. Was he seeking death? It's definitely not the Black Beast Cauldron, have you forgotten? After my master officially established the master-disciple relationship, he gave me a lot of things. Among them were some cauldrons. After saying that, Fang Yu flipped his hand and took out a bronze cauldron. Jasper Qilin cauldron? It's not the real thing, it's an imitation, and the imitation is very good. Jiang Zhenyu was shocked at first, and then she reacted. I knew it. The Jasper Qilin cauldron is in the hands of a legend. How could it have fallen into your hands? Fang Yu smiled but said nothing. In truth, before Yao Feng left, he explained to Fang Yu about their lineage's background. Yao Feng hails from a sect called the Medicine Sect, and is the disciple of the head of the Medicine Sect. The Lord of the Medicine Sect is a legendary alchemist who wields the Jade Qilin Cauldron. He had once said that when Yao Feng reached half Zhongshe, he could look for him to temper himself and reach Zhongshe realm. Little did they know that Yao Feng had committed a grave mistake and was trapped in the Azure Dragon Mirror for many years. Before entering the Hall of Atonement, Yao Feng had already told his master everything. His master had expressed his understanding and was willing to wait for him. At the same time, his master had also expressed his regret that Yao Feng's chances of becoming a legend were very low. It wasn't that Feng Yu couldn't see Yao Feng's alchemy talent. Yao Feng could be said to be a monstrous alchemy genius. However, after wasting so many years, becoming a grandmaster at a later age and becoming a grandmaster at a young age were two different concepts. Sad and lamentable. But Yao Feng didn't regret it. The reason why Yao Feng said this was because he felt that after going out, he would report to his master and then go directly to the medicine sect. At that time, when he wasn't in the Azure Dragon Mirror, Feng Yu would wait for him. Perhaps when there's a chance, he would go to the medicine sect. Although he had wasted many years, he believed his master wouldn't be disappointed if he managed to create the extreme spirit pill. It must be known that many alchemists would never be able to create a Dan pill in their lifetime. For Yao Feng to be able to successfully create the extreme spirit pill was already very amazing. The Jade Qilin Cauldron replica was a gift given to Yao Feng by the medicine sect. It's just that Yao Feng always felt guilty towards the medicine sect's head, so he didn't display it together with the medicine sect. Later, after confirming the master-disciple relationship, Yao Feng confessed everything. After all, he couldn't let his disciple be so muddle-headed that he didn't even know who his master was. Feng Yu was focused on refining the medicine. His speed was very fast, shocking everyone. He's really refining, he's not joking? Everyone's heart moved. They didn't expect this Feng Yu to be so multi-talented. At the same time, they were also aware of Feng Yu's intentions. It's not good to go out now, it's better to wait until it's about time to go out. Just as Songtian Blood thought, even Lai Chu and Yao Guangfeng couldn't remain indifferent for long. Especially when the news came in one after another, the rest couldn't sit still. It's suspected to be a blood crystal with a constitution inheritance. This is a treasure. Spirit seal. It's really a spirit seal. Oh? It's a map. It doesn't seem to belong to us, but I feel like there's a great fortune in it. As the good news came in one after another, the rest of the people finally couldn't sit still. Let's go, we're going up. It was a reclusive family that moved out. They weren't on the same side as Beiji Ong and Jiang Zhenyu, so they didn't move together. Although they are a reclusive family, it's been a long time since their martial emperor fell. Compared to Beiji Ang's family, it's more serious. If they don't do anything, they will be removed from the family. If they are no longer a reclusive family, then when they are attacked by a group of people, no one will come to help, no one will come to rescue them. The consequences will be unimaginable. There's no such thing as eternal invincibility in the world. However, since a reclusive family hasn't given birth to a new martial emperor, it's definitely declining. Although martial emperors are rare, in every era, there will be one or two martial emperors. If a second martial emperor hasn't been born in thousands of years, this family is destined to be removed from the family. These people's families haven't given birth to a new martial emperor for 5,000 years, so they are very anxious. There's a family that only has one saint and hasn't given birth to a new martial emperor for 9,000 years. Therefore, even if they can see that it's all a trap, they can only try and take a gamble. In the end, they can't help but make a move. Lai Chu's eyebrows twitched. She doesn't say that she empathizes with them, but she somewhat understands. After all, Lai Emperor is still alive and Lai Chu can also become an emperor. But what about after that? Generations after generations? What about after Lai Chu passes away for thousands of years? Will the Lai family still exist? Not to mention, the current martial emperors aren't friendly. There are also many open and covert struggles. If they directly shed all pretense of cordiality, it will be very harmful to both sides. There's no need to go to this extent. At that time, if the Lai family no longer has a martial emperor and is removed from the family, but the opponent still has a martial emperor alive, it will be very dangerous. These families are afraid of such things happening. Even if they know that it's very likely to be a trap, they have to brace themselves to fight and try to obtain the fortune. Chapter 433. What? It's the 9 orifices divine spiritual fruit? A sudden exclamation came from the sky, and Lai Meng's eyes narrowed. 9 orifices divine spiritual fruit? Is it the 9 orifices divine spiritual fruit that can allow a martial emperor to create an avatar? That's incredible. If we really get it and successfully cultivate it, it's equivalent to having another martial emperor. How terrifying! No, let's go and fight for it. Regardless of success or failure, we have to try. Yeah, if we really get it, we can exchange it for the protection of a martial emperor or resources to become a sage. Many cultivators could no longer sit still, and even gave up on the opportunity to fight for the 9 orifices divine spiritual fruit. They're forcing us to make a move. Lai Meng sighed and glanced at the remaining figures. These were all famous rising stars from powerful factions. Everyone was aware of the situation here, so they were not in a hurry to make a move. However, as soon as the 9 orifices divine fruits appeared, everyone's situation changed. They had no choice but to fight for it and make a move, because the 9 orifices divine spiritual fruit was something that even a martial emperor would fight for personally. Now that they had encountered it, they had to fight for it. Get lost. The 9 orifices divine spiritual fruit is mine. Are you trying to offend us? We're the 3-eyed martial emperor's men. Zhumu and the others also joined the fight without hesitation. If they could get the 9 orifices divine spiritual fruit, their status in the family would definitely rise. Because the one in charge of the family was still the 3-eyed martial emperor. Compared to fawning on the young master, it was definitely more worthwhile to fawn on the 3-eyed martial emperor. However, the 3-eyed martial emperor was too powerful. Even if they wanted to fawn on him, they would not be able to. Now that there was a rare opportunity, they could not miss it. Lai Meng, what do you think? Bai Wuxia asked for Lai Meng's opinion. In my opinion, it would be best to wait for Fang Yu to come with us, Lai Meng said slowly. This was her acknowledgement of Fang Yu's strength. Moreover, Fang Yu was a person with a lot of ideas. Most of the time, he could do unexpected things. If they had Fang Yu's help, everything would not be too difficult. This was the truth. But now there was a problem. When would Fang Yu come? Fang Yu won't be able to come for the time being. I've already deduced. Mo Ling replied. She was a rather Buddhist person. It wasn't that Mo Ling had no desires. It was just that ordinary things were simply unable to move Mo Ling. However, the 9 orifices divine spiritual fruit could. This item was an extremely rare treasure even for the old man of the mysterious Sky Hall. If he could obtain it, it would be of great benefit to the mysterious Sky Hall. Mo Ling's position in the mysterious Heavens Hall was already extremely high. She didn't need to raise her own position because of this. She only wanted to defeat her senior sister. For this, she was willing to do anything and pay any price. Since you've given your all, then let's go. Fang Yu isn't here. Perhaps he can save us a chance of survival. Feng Yaoguang suddenly blurted out. Everyone looked at Feng Yaoguang. Feng Yaoguang was definitely someone who was tied to Fang Yu's interests. Now that Feng Yaoguang had said so, why not take a look at the 9 orifices divine spiritual fruit first? Meanwhile, phew, it's a success. On the other hand, Fang Yu really managed to refine the God-slave pill after some fiddling. You really succeeded? So fast. Jiang Zhenyu was tongue-tied. If she hadn't witnessed the entire process, she definitely wouldn't have believed such a ridiculous thing could happen. This was refining medicine, not cooking. How could it be so fast? And it's a success. Beiji Ang's expression froze. He and Jiang Zhenyu were both geniuses. They had seen many geniuses and monsters of their generation. However, this was the first time they had seen someone like Fang Yu. Fang Yu opened the cauldron and revealed the situation inside. There were 2 pills lying inside. One was black and the other was white. The white one is the main pill. The black one is the secondary pill. What are you doing? Before Fang Yu could finish speaking, Xue Ming had already made her move. She snatched the white pill first before flicking the black one at Fang Yu. Gulp. Fang Yu, who could have dodged, froze under the influence of Xue Ming's ocular technique. He swallowed the pill directly. As the pill's power spread, Fang Yu's expression changed. Xue Ming, you. What about me? What about me? Xue Ming, who had also swallowed the white pill, chuckled. Fang Yu, oh Fang Yu, I admit that you're a very impressive person. However, you're too naive. Aren't you afraid that I'll take revenge? Fang Yu was enraged. He had been fooled by Xue Ming just like that. He really couldn't tolerate it. Who told you to look down on me like that? You really think that you have my lifeline and my throat? Fang Yu, you're too arrogant. Xue Ming said coldly, and you guys. Jiang Zhenyu and Beiji Ang's expressions turned ugly upon seeing Xue Ming's expression. They more or less knew what was going to happen next. Weren't you guys very impressive before? What about now? Xue Ming asked with a smile. What about now? Xue Ming, aren't you afraid of retribution for doing this? Jiang Zhenyu's beautiful face turned pale. She was really afraid that Xue Ming would take revenge on her. Because among these people, apart from the powerful Fang Yu and Xue Ming, who was proficient in the intelligence of this place, Jiang Zhenyu and Beiji Ang were dispensable. It would be best if they had 2 more helpers. It didn't matter if they didn't. They just had to be careful. Therefore, even if Xue Ming wanted revenge, it wouldn't be strange if he killed her and Beiji Ang. Retribution? What retribution? I just know that someone is going to die. Xue Ming smiled and said, Slave Fang, kill them for me. Slave Fang? Are you talking to me? Fang Yu was stunned. Fang Yu, don't be ungrateful and act recklessly. Your life is now in my hands. Of course, I won't kill you directly because your battle strength is not bad. Keeping you alive is still useful. But the 2 of them are useless, so there's no harm in killing them. Xue Ming said his thoughts, causing Beiji Ang and Jiang Zhenyu to feel cold all over. Xue Ming was originally a very powerful existence. Her methods were impossible to guard against. They knew that they couldn't deal with Xue Ming. Not to mention that Xue Ming now had Fang Yu as a helper. That made it even more difficult to deal with. If they joined forces, would they still have a chance to survive? There was no way to survive. Enough idle chatter, go to hell. Since Xue Ming had shed all pretense of cordiality with them, he didn't want to waste any more words. He said, Slave Fang, why aren't you attacking? Be careful of your fate. Although I won't kill you, I can easily make you suffer a fate worse than death. Moreover, it's not like I can't kill them. I just want to give you a chance to perform meritorious service. You have to cherish it, little Slave Fang. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.